doing the show as well. So with that, I think we're ready for our first match here with G2 versus Planet Odd. We kind of talked a little bit about G2 and how they were doing with Lothar. I think Lothar got a little unnecessary hate, I think. People were talking about that he's more of eye candy, that he's not really substantive players, but in the end, G2 actually went one-on-one. He was contributing a lot to the discussion.
Yeah, I mean, people forget, in the early days of Hearthstone, Lothar was a grinder. He was playing the open portions of Dream Hacks and always performing very well. Like, yeah, I think, especially in a team environment, it's tough to be. It's tough to have one player kind of hurt results, right? You're still going to have a lot of people giving input and all contributing towards making the optimal play.
Good. It's good to have multiple perspectives as long as it's not disrupting the play too much. And we'll see how it ends up coming to play. The way Trinity Series works for anybody who's not watched a single game before, or a single match rather, is we have 9 classes and each team can ban 2. And then, of course, after the 2 are banned, you then choose to exclude 1. You can also call it a third ban and a self-ban, and you bring 6 classes. And not surprisingly, Priest has been eliminated on both sides. I think as 9.1 has developed and we've moved into 9.2 with the patch yesterday, we'll see how teams adapt, if at all. 9.2 was a very minor update in terms of gameplay, just fixing a couple of trigger sequences, which I don't think actually affects meta at all.
Yeah, it's not really going to affect deck building or the classes people bring, but yeah, the Priest bans definitely make a lot of sense. It's a deck that when you're playing against it, it is a bit out of your control. If they do draw the Raza and the Anduin, there's really no counterplay to that. So not too surprising to see that banned out. Druid, of course, as well. Just a very all-around solid class, powerful in every matchup.
This might be the first time since, I think, no, actually, I think this might be the first time all season long that we've actually had the same exact bans and the same exact self-bans as well. Usually people have been leaving out like Warrior in the beginning, or some people ban Shaman, some people ban Rogue, of course. Rogue was a big proponent with Tempo Rogue being very strong after 9.1. Here's the classes that are assigned to each player. There's official pilot for each of these pairings. We have Tice on Warlock Paladin, RDU on Rogue and Warrior, Neria on Mage and Shaman. However, of course, as we mentioned, there will be a lot of discussion in between.
Yeah, definitely. It's going to be interesting to see, what kind of Warrior lists players brought. I've noticed there's been a decent amount of variety. Have we seen... I remember seeing like N'Zoth, I think, at a certain point. Have you seen too much Pirate Warrior? Yeah,
Pirate Warrior seems to be a big default option for a lot of people because it still has a competitive win rate against some classes that struggle against aggressive starts. But we have seen, even Devilstorm bring Fatigue Warrior, straight up double Dead Man's Hand Cold Light Oracles.
Yeah, there's definitely, it's a pretty flexible class right now. The nice thing about the Kelseth package, along with just the powerful neutral minions right now, is that you can pretty much slot those into any class and have a pretty powerful deck. So, Rogue, and Tempo Rogue specifically, is a very powerful deck. We see it, represented very often, but at the end of the day, that same shell you can fit into just about anything.
All right, so you guys, you can see on your screen, Sixo is coming up here, and I believe he had Warlock and Warrior available to him, so I'm curious what they're going to bring. Planet Odd also had a lot of mistakes uncharacteristic to what people know them for. In fact, I mean, with Surrender's win in the Summer Championship this past weekend, they officially have 2 HCT seasonal champions, which is also funny because they also won their respective regional. So Hoi won Europe playoffs and then won Spring Championships. Surrender won Summer playoffs and then won Summer Championship, leaving Sixo, the odd member, out, even though we consider him to be a top player. So we'll see if Planet Odd's able to live up to their reputation.
Yeah, definitely a strong roster. We'll see how the games go. Kind of excited to see some of the mirror matches. Playing a lot of ladder lately, I've noticed that the metagame's actually in a pretty balanced spot. Pretty much every class is represented a decent amount. Everything has some kind of competitive list, and for the most part, it's just those very small decisions in every game that can kind of decide who ends up taking it.
Yeah, something I mentioned on the broadcast this past week at HCT, and I wonder what you think, is that this is probably one of the most interesting lopsided role reversals in terms of data versus theory or expert opinion that we've ever had in Hearthstone's metas, where data kind of basically goes against what the expert opinion is in almost every category. Like, oh, people say like Highlander Priest is unfavored in all these things, or like Shaman's favored in all these matchups, or like Warlock's unfavored against everything. And there's like so many strong matchups that they actually have, but for some reason, all the win rates just go against the those notions.
Yeah, you know, honestly, it's not uncommon in Hearthstone. There's a lot of play to a lot of the decks in Hearthstone, and when you're talking about making hundreds of small decisions over the course of a game, each of which can affect your win percentage a bit. The pro level metagame just becomes very different from the casual or more average player metagame. So aggregate data is a really good thing to look at. If you're trying to kind of gauge what decks are actually strong, what decks on average when they're piloted will perform better. But when you're talking about like a 1% difference in win rate, just in the data, I think that I think pro opinion outweighs kind of the difference in win rates there. If pro players believe that one deck is significantly stronger, there's usually a pretty good reason for that.
Absolutely, and I think that applies to a bunch of things too. Like if a deck overperforms, it tends to be very predatory on a lot of things in the meta too. And we'll see how much that comes into play here, as Artie looks like he's finally ready to go. He said he requested a brief bathroom break just as we were about to get started and we were ramping up all the discussion. And 6-0 looks like he's been ready for a while. I do want to throw this out there, Raynad. Would you ever dye your hair in your team's colors? In this case, it'd be blue and white for Tempo Storm, right?
Yeah, is green and yellow for Planet Odd? I'm from Minnesota, man. We don't like Packers fans.
Well, I mean, what is Tempo Storm's official color? Because it feels like they've been changing a little bit.
Well, yeah, that's a good question.
And would you also, the follow-up is, would you end up dyeing your hair that way?
Oh God, no! I wouldn't dye my hair. Never. Who would do such a thing? Yeah. Now, blue and white. We're thinking of working some red in. Check out the new jerseys this weekend.
Some red.
Yeah,
that is interesting. Is it seasonal or is it just kind of a interesting?
No, that's just my idea. I wanted to try just a little bit as a highlight.
Oh, so like a tinge.
Yeah.
Gotcha. What do you think of 6-0's partitioned hair? It's very bold, I say.
Yeah.
He actually texted me and said, "What do you think of my hair?" And I said, "I think you're a braver man than I am." Let's go into game number 1. We have Rogue versus Warlock. Now, this is something that's also very interesting. Warlock's been innovating a lot, and I put that in quotation marks because Zoo's always been around forever. But they've kind of revived the mid-range Zoo. They have Blood Reaver Gul'dan come in, and they have Bone Mares, but they also still have the good old Flame Imps and Doom Guards. What do you think about this deck list?
I can't for the life of me know what to make of it, because I see it on ladder so often nowadays. But okay, you're playing all the discard stuff. You're playing 2 Soulfires. You're playing 2 Doom Guards. At the same time, you're playing 7 drops of Bone Mare. You're playing Gul'dan. So to me, my instincts say that so many expensive cards with all the discard effects, shouldn't be that strong together. But when you just see the deck in practice, it's actually pretty powerful. It does perform very well against a lot of strategies that can't really deal with good mid-game threats. And the Gul'dan does let you go over the top of a lot of control strategies as well. So, I definitely don't think it's as strong as the control list of Warlock. But when you're talking about playing a team format that's a best of 11, it's not really about what decks are better in a vacuum. It's kind of what fits best into the lineup, what targets the decks that you want to target. And in this case, it seems like they're using Warlock as kind of an opener deck rather than a hard counter to something.
Yeah. Well, is it specifically really good against certain decks, or is it really weak against certain decks? We're going to find out as we go ahead and tune in and listen to how the newly revamped G2 is faring in the first game here with the
Firefly, and then next turn.
Do you like that with the dagger at 2? I mean, dagger is not bad against
Firefly. I
would rather coin Dark Reaper 1-2.
Okay.
Yeah, sure. I mean,
do you really care about Marcus Sim this early in the game?
Turn 2 is often double Wander Up or Tap or Prince 2, right?
I think it's fine.
You cover it. That's what I mean. You have 2 times a 1 attack and the dagger.
Yeah. If the Soulfire, the 1-2 is fine, right?
I mean, I don't know. I don't know the deck well enough, but
it's only the Blood Imp is bad.
So, Firefly or 2 Fireflies?
I would play 2, risk it a bit.
yeah, I think also 2 with dagger at 2. We always want a dagger. They don't play Direwolf.
Yeah, it's fine.
We can definitely consider Shadow Step on the Firefly. Not yet, but soon.
We need to get the board.
About it. Yeah, don't see any. Yeah, next turn after they deck our 2-1, we just Corsair tap or Corsair whatever we draw. Trail, I guess.
So just backstab the Flame Imp and dagger, right?
Yeah. Clear.
and go face.
No, you cleared everything except 2-1.
Yeah, don't you want to clear the Malkazar's imp?
You
Or...
always clear imp.
Nice.
Okay, sure. Sure. We kill the imp, yeah. Because we're going to turn 3, so we don't want to give them the thing. Yeah, okay. I was thinking way too much value oriented, but if they have the 3 mana on buff, then we're in a really bad spot if we don't kill it.
Okay, just because they're test. Yeah, I don't want to draw patches. Thanks. I almost forgot to attack with patches.
Game is hard. Not washed up yet.
So yeah, I mean, we're seeing unfortunate misplay from G2 right off the bat in drawing patches, but they're trying to make do despite that.
Yeah, it's not a good leg to get started off with Neria, but I mean, you can hear that they're already starting to account for a lot of factors there. Now, they were talking about how the coin Firefly worked out, how they were going to set up for the dagger. In hindsight, is there anything else they could have really done here to set up with their hand looking as awkward as it is?
No, I definitely think that was the line to take. You know, Asher's veteran is a little bit annoying there, but at the end of the day, you wanted to just contest the board as early as possible. And when you draw patches, you have dead cards in hand like Bone Mares and Shadow Steps. You really just want to make sure that you're still doing stuff in the early stages. And yeah, just double 1-drop into Hero Power into Tar Creeper is super reasonable.
Too soon.
Is the Zoo Warlock really good against Rogue these days, or is it something that's still uncharted territory?
You know, it's one of those decks that just doesn't have... It's new enough that I don't think people have played enough games to say definitively what it is and is not good against. But, you know, just like a lot of things in Hearthstone, the players that are diehard fans of the deck will pretty much say it's favored against everything. Yeah, I personally don't think the new Zoo deck is that strong, but... you know, when your opponent draws patches in a board control matchup, it's kind of tough to lose those games. They're picking up Councilman too. You know, Rogue is fallen far enough behind at this point that I think, you know, it's going to be tough to deal with a lot of mid-sized threats.
Planet Odd stuck here with the Councilman Coil or the Stare Knight Chain Gang, which is also a little bit of an interesting inclusion. Stare Knight Chain Gang, not exactly the minion you think of right off the bat, but pretty annoying to deal with. Let's go ahead and tune in and see what Planet Odd's debating on this turn.
And like, I guess I turned everything in for Deadlord next turn.
Okay,
Maybe that's
seems
what's the
like
way to counter, man.
yeah, but they can coin like Wild Spin.
So what do you think?
Just pass the chain gang and pass.
Version. Well,
Oh, what an awkward turn.
I mean, we play patches and we shadow step it, so we have patches while spy next turn.
I also think so.
I mean,
Do we attack the 2/3?
No. I mean, if you attack 2/3, we can't kill it because we have to play patches to kill it. It's really bad spot if they have Doomguard.
Yeah. But we still have the patch Shadow Step, right?
Oh man.
So many.
Yeah, I was hoping that we get like something like a Psy or 3-drop.
I'm in charge now.
Yeah, you cannot even kill one of the 2/3s.
Power line.
I mean, they have Wild Spy next turn. I'm pretty sure about that. I just
So, 3-3.
actually I think I'd like Dreadlord pass. I think so. Like they will always play patches Wild Spy next to Dreadlord. Like there's no question, right?
Yeah.
But yeah, that's if we wait a turn, we can use Coil on the Tar Creeper instead of doing the trades. But we don't even miss damage because if we trade, we would still not get damage because we want to use our Dreadlord. I guess we could trade the small stuff in Coil and play Councilman. Like that makes Councilman get Wild Spined, but it's still like the same mana usage kinda. But I think we just play Dreadlord.
One drop. We have so many one drops. I like trade the small things, more to coin. Like Councilman, but
Surrender?
Yeah, I like Soulfire more. That's the Soulfire points. Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, I'm...
Go.
Okay. Go.
You said Soulfire first, I just did Soulfire first.
I mean, I didn't mean Soulfire first. I mean, Darkshire first and Soulfire.
Yeah, okay, you just said Soulfire first. It's okay, we didn't discuss it.
Yes.
Oh, well, everything working out for Planet Odds so far. A little bit of communication error there in terms of the sequencing, but it looks like their head's in the right place. And hey, it worked out okay.
Yeah, Hearthstone's a pretty great game. Has a lot of things going for it.
Oh, man, there it is.
Justice is not one of them. Councilman does get played. Oh, man.
Chaos rules this board, as far as I'm concerned. Look at how terrible of a draw G2 is just having this game. And Rogue is, I mean, it's always historically been vulnerable to that, but something like this where you have patches and you keep drawing like more things that synergize with only Shadow Step.
It's just patches, man. It's like you're playing 7 drops in an aggro deck, 2 Shadow Steps, which can be dead sometimes, Cold Blood Leroy, which can be dead sometimes. And yeah, you know, after playing a lot of Rogue lately, after the Rat Race, I've noticed that you know, I feel like most of the games I lose with the deck are because of patches draws, which led me to, you know, try cutting the card, but that wasn't working great either. You do need it. It's, you know, necessary evil. But, yeah, I mean, at this point, Planet Odds board is just so powerful. I don't really see Rogue recovering here without something crazy.
Oh, interesting.
Hellfire, maybe.
They have Hallucination.
Yeah, it's not a common card.
Shadow Flame. Wait, how big is their Vile Spine? It's a 3 attack, right?
No.
Shadow Flame would clear off everything except the Dreadlord. Wow.
Yeah, I mean, it does slow Planet Odd down a little bit, but at this point it is kind of just treading water. You definitely, you need to do more than clear the board. You need to clear the board and then also regain initiative. So it's going to take a couple of crazy hallucinations from this point to take it, I think. It's kind of an interesting tech choice too. Like, you don't usually see hallucination in that rogue list. It's I've noticed there's certain categories of rogue cards that kind of work together in the Tempo Rogue deck. You have so many good tools to choose from, so it's kind of about picking the right ones, right? You have Leroy, you have Cold Blood for like the more aggressive strategies, but then you have all these value tools you can include too. You can play Hallucination, you can play Shadowcaster, you can play Zeryl. These cards aren't as aggressive, but they get good value. So it's kind of interesting that G2's playing, you know, a mix of the two. Is that good here? I can't tell.
It's not lethal, but it's pretty dang close.
It's lethal, Dan. It's, man.
Yeah, well, it's as good as it gets. I mean, it turns 7 mana crystals, 7 mana card.
Yeah, I mean, if you're gonna get blown out by top decks, this is the game you want it to happen in, because probably wasn't gonna be a win anyway.
Well, I'm trying to think of a card for 3 mana or less that Rogue can get bailed out here, and that's not one of them. That's going to do it. Double Shadow Step patches Leroy Draw is going to seal out G2 for Game 1. And, you know, also just because it shows you the power of Zoo when it can still curve out, and why many people consider it to be still a very viable deck, and its win rate is climbing very steadily over the weeks.
Yeah. Definitely a very consistent deck. You know, it does kind of run some of that risk of drawing patches as well, but, you know, Life Tap really lets you recover from some mediocre draws, so definitely powerful.
So overall, do you think it's one of the more powerful decks? Do you think it's just kind of in the middle of the pack, or do you think it's just one of those pretenders that might have a little bit of stint during a metagame?
I think it's strong right now because people aren't quite prepared for it yet. Kind of like how Tempo Rogue was so strong for such a long time because people didn't really pick up on it. You know, the Zoo deck is fine, but at the end of the day, I don't think it does enough stuff better than a deck like Tempo Rogue to really justify it as, like, you know, a tier 1 list long term.
Oh, so you do think Tempo Rogue is one of the top tier decks?
Oh, Rogue, you mean? Yeah, Rogue, absolutely. I think Rogue is super competitive. The only thing that's making the deck, you know, not perform at absurd win rates right now is the fact that the entire metagame is warped around that deck. All the inclusions in decks like Glocka Crawlers, all of the board clears, all the tech cards and priests like Holy Fire, specifically for the Rogue matchup. And you know, at the end of the day, that really hurts the deck more than just its power level in a vacuum. I think it's very strong.
Yeah, it was just interesting because you made the comparison of saying, like, you think Warlock's win rate was climbing similar to how Tempo Rogue was.
Right.
So I wasn't sure if you're implying that Rogue's win rate will fall more towards the middle of the pack because people will eventually find ways to counter it. But yeah, it's interesting when you make the comparison.
I definitely think they already have. Yeah, I just mean like Rogue is a deck. It's been, I mean, it's one of the best decks after the nerfs just in the metagame, but it took people kind of a few weeks to pick up on it. There were a couple players performing very well with it for a long time, but yeah, once the metagame kind of adapted, it became a lot harder to win for that deck. So with Zoo, I think a lot of the strength in it right now is just people haven't quite adapted yet.
All right, well, why don't we check out a couple of the stats, the very relevant stats of that previous series of Planet Odd, and it seems like the Warlock's been doing pretty good, able to nail it down a win. And also the thing about last year's standing too is often you do end up winning a game and your opponent queue up a counter. It hasn't actually been working very much for a lot of teams. Some are able to just get a huge amount of wins with Paladin, for example. Paladin's been a very well-performing class in Trinity Series. These are the averages, by the way, across everyone else's. So the average Paladin wins for every team has been largely disproportionate. And then, of course, Hunters and Priests have been performing pretty poorly. But that's largely because Priest has been left open, or sorry, been banned. And when it's left open, ends up getting countered pretty severely by, like, Quest Mage.
Yeah. That is some math.
That is some math. And those are statistics brought to you by the hardworking Trinity Series production crew.
Nah, I liked it.
Whenever a win gets tallied, they just make a little mark there. So they've been keeping track, man.
Has Murloc Paladin been overperforming that?
Absolutely. It's been severely overperforming, where it's like sometimes getting 3-4 wins per series.
Yeah, I think it's very strong, and I think it's strong because of Tempo Rogue. Tempo Rogue, like its popularity has essentially warped every single deck around pirates, more or less, or like pirate removal. Whereas Murloc kind of dodges all of that.
Gotcha. Hit me with some cutting edge technology, Reynad. What's like it's a Thursday night. Reynad just got a big signing done. He's feeling good. What's the new tech in Murloc Paladin that's going to be on Reynad's stream before everyone copies it and hits you with it right back?
Uther.
the Death Knight.
Of course.
In Murloc Paladin.
Yeah.
And what's it? Is it just going face for 15?
Yeah. It makes 2/2s, yeah. It's spicy. Have you ever?
But then it replaces your Murloc hero power, right?
Look, man. Think back to the days of playing Secret Paladin, and you would curve 1 through 7 perfectly.
Right.
Now imagine you curve an 8 off of that with Tyrion. Imagine then you curve a 9 with Uther. How tilted would your opponent be? I mean, they were already dead if you had the 1 through 6.
Right.
But the 9 really seals it, you know.
Gotcha. Yeah. It was the. It was like the Tyrion after the Dr. Boom for Secret Paladin, I guess.
Oh, I love this mage deck.
Just straight up control mage?
Yeah, it's just I love that play style. It's so clean. It really you just get value. You play good, wholesome Hearthstone. You know, the way the game was intended to be played.
Yeah, with very honest cards like Ice Block and Primordial Glyph.
Yeah.
So I can't tell. Are we being ironic, or are you actually admiring Control Mage at this point?
No, actually, I've always liked Control Mage. It's always been one of my favorite decks to play.
Right. When you say clean, can you describe that a little bit more in detail?
Yeah, I mean, so a lot of decks have kind of convoluted play styles, like Raza Kazakus Priest is a very weird deck. You're playing a lot of garbage and a lot of 1-ofs, and you're hoping to draw like these 2 1-ofs to win the game in a very convoluted way, and combo your opponent after that. But a deck like Control Mage is very straightforward. It's kind of like a very efficient arena deck. You know, you're playing fair minions for the most part. You're playing removal. You're trying to decide, you know, when to play reactively, when to play proactively. There's a lot of fun decisions about when you kind of turn the heat up and want to switch to aggro mode and start going face. It's just it's my favorite way of playing card games. I definitely think that it's a play style that we haven't seen represented in a long time outside of this deck, because, you know, we receive very polished linear decks across no matter what strategy people are playing, whether that's aggro and you're just curving out, playing, you know, the most expensive thing you can every turn, or if it's Druid and you're curving out, playing the most expensive thing you can every turn, or if it's Raza Priest where there's 2 cards in your deck that matter and 28 cards you hope to not draw. Mage is not like that. It's just a good, wholesome Hearthstone.
Yeah, I do see a lot of what you're talking about. It's very adaptive to how each matchup ends up playing out, because each other deck has different power spike turns, and Mage usually tries to disrupt it. So let's go ahead and tune in and see how these teams are going to shape up these first few crucial turns of this game.
I mean, you always captain here, and I think we trade patches and go face with the West.
Just like we want to trade the 2-3 and the 1-1 into the other one.
What? Why would that be better than just trading patches? Like, why would that 1 HP on them?
Yeah, we trade the patches no matter what.
Oh, you want trading both? Actually,
But
I don't like it. I want to go face.
Space is
Go ahead. Actually, maybe we should just trade the Corsair into the 2-2.
Oh, yeah, that's better.
Okay, good talk.
Do we need to?
Ooh.
Frostbolt thing? Nah, Volcanic trade and leave the 1-3 against the 1-1, right?
You're forgetting the Volcanic is
Doomguard.
not getting better.
What about Doomguard? They can
We can
Doomguard.
leave the 3-1 up.
Yeah, and then play Mana Worm. Too
Yeah.
right.
What else do we have? We can Frostbolt the...
Nah, it's not good enough, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah, Frostbolt doesn't look good enough.
Volcanic is not getting better than this. His big boys are coming now.
Yeah, it's definitely Volcanic. And then you play Mana Arm, and depends how scared we are of going Doomguard.
Yeah, you can trade the 1-1 here. It's fine. Like he even has to make this trade, so he cannot leave the Mana Worm up with the 1 HP minion.
That coin is way too good.
I think we test
Green is actually pretty. It's 2 secrets, so pretty good for us. First two.
Flame Firefly?
Yeah. And retreat.
Yeah, sure.
Secret delay now. That was fine.
So what to expect. I play a Worm and Potion, so it's just some mid-range Burn Mage stuff.
Excuse me, you are on fire.
Yeah, a bit of a tough turn there from Planet Odd. Had to decide between Coin Dreadlord and just tapping. They did hit a 1-drop, which is pretty nice. Let them use the rest of their mana that turn. Yeah, Coin is just so valuable when you're sitting on a Bone Mare in hand, but at the same time, you kind of want to clear this Valet. So, at this point, players are really just trying to decide, how can we put on the best amount of pressure possible, but at the same time, not mess up our curve going forward.
Yeah, and they also have one of the most important cards in their deck, too, with the Blood Reaver Gul'dan. And I feel like part of the reason why Zoo is still just so good or just Warlock as a class, it just feels propped up by that Death Knight. It almost feels very similar to, like, Dr. Boom in a sense. Like, it's okay as long as you get to this big, powerful card that can swing the game, like, in the past. And Blood Reaver Gul'dan feels like no matter what kind of shenanigans happened early game, if you can land Blood Reaver Gul'dan and be in a decent game state, you're in a really good spot.
Yeah, I mean, that card is so much more powerful in a deck like Zoo compared to a deck like Control Warlock, because you're getting back Doom Guards. You're not bringing back, like, Void Walker and one Abyssal Prosecutor, or Enforcer. Why do I always say Prosecutor? Because of Magic card. But yeah, I do think that in Zoo, this card is just so absurd. The fact that you can play it, swing for 10, is just, a night and day difference compared to the Control Warlock list, which just kind of use it as a finisher that gives you inevitability. I'm still personally kind of on the fence on this card when it comes to Control Warlock lists. I still think Jiraxis is very powerful, and I think that Despicable Dreadlord, as good of a card as it is, might not be what you want in a control list, but I mean, when you're talking about mid-range Zoo, it is exactly what you want.
Oh yeah, I mean, the Control Warlock seems to use it more as, like, a fatigue resource. Like, all they do is just keep removing stuff, and then if they don't have anything else, they'll just start hitting face and playing for the anti-fatigue. Like, I'll just be up in life and you'll be down.
Yeah, absolutely. Pretty weak turn from Zoo here, but the follow-ups they have are very strong. Well, let's see how G2 decides to navigate this turn.
Oh,
You
yeah.
wanna clear, you want to clear both here, I think, because of Bone Mare. Like, this game we win with Medivh.
not even ducked. And we have sick violence from Medivh.
Oh my god. When Medivh is good against Sue.
And if they play Bowlman and Curve, we can just violence. Oh, we can just violence now.
Would you just violence now?
Okay,
I don't know. I think I like Medivh actually. You summon a 7/7, you trade the 2/2 in.
We can't clear the Taunt guy, though.
The taunt guy? Which one?
Bone Mag, you mean?
If they bomber the 4/5, it goes to 9 HP
I
and...
wonder.
Ah, we can clear it with...
Yeah, but then we just violence portal the 5/5 bolt.
Yeah.
We can face tank it.
Yeah. Yeah. This hand needs Medivh now.
Do we want to face tank it now?
No.
No.
I mean,
Maybe. Maybe actually, yeah.
we take 4...
If you face tank it now, you can just ping next turn.
Okay.
Plays around Bone Mare. Yeah, sure. Why not? Yeah, it's good. It's good.
Go face them. That's the... That's also...
I think we go face, but not convinced.
Punish us other than polymorph mid-one if they like.
Two spells like Meteor, yeah.
If they want to play Jaina next turn, right? They might play Jaina trade with Ribbon. If you go face now, it's really hard for them to play like.
I just go face, right?
Yeah.
Okay, feel like the
They hit.
play around Meteor. Like if we trade the Meteor the 5/5, that's pretty bad for us.
Doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter. I mean, it can matter.
Ooh.
Oh, I can't play my Doomsayer!
Yeah. Good.
Yeah, there's no way.
I would go for something like YOLO, like tap, then Doomguard and hope discard the 2 other cards. That's like how we win. How many taunts do we get if we play cooldown? We only get what?
Yeah, I think that's the play.
Yeah.
I don't see how we win if we.
Oh,
Right. We need
And we have
the.
one. I think we
We need the cooldown to win.
I think
Yeah.
so too.
so just don't get pressed.
We kill the 7/6.
Just
Right.
hero power, right? Then they can hero power. And I was playing around Power Blast or one.
I mean, just in general taking damage. Like the hero power to just go down next turn to get it back to another 5/5.
I think we trade 5/5.
No, but we only get back as a 5/5 and as a 5/7, so it can kill the 7/6 next turn, but it can't
Yeah,
kill the
okay.
5/5. Actually, no, it can because we get the guys.
Okay.
We get the action. We do get the 4/5, so it can do both. And just
Only Power Blast.
I mean, the thing is that this way our Doomguard survives next turn after we trade with the 5/5, but I wasn't sure.
Man, when the plays start getting down to nitty gritty, Planet comes alive. In the first early turns, it always feels like they're chilling, not really saying much. Like, yep, just do this, do that. Ooh, man inside
That's
totem.
spicy.
Wow.
I mean, did Doomguard just discard 2 cards that weren't Blood Reaver?
Yeah.
The only possible way they could still be in this game. That's
And you
the
thought
play.
it only happened to you, right?
That's the play. I identify as G2 in this scenario. It's still happening to me.
It summons back things that are unbuffed, if I recall
Yeah,
correctly. So
yeah.
it's a 5/7 guard. But man. Oh, jeez. I knew a lot of demons died, but I didn't realize it was a full board.
Yeah, I've seen worse boards. That'll do. I mean, so far, G2 has seen 1 Volcanic Potion and, no blizzards, no Flame Strike. they're kind of considering,
My hunger grows.
you know, should we trade in right now? Should we go face? Is it possible to win if we don't go face?
Right. Or if they're dead, if they don't, for example.
Right. It's a tough call, to be honest, but that Mana Tide does kind of make all the difference. That is not an attack I expected.
Yeah, that's a lot of respect for a 0-3. But I guess because they have 17 life, which is actually more than I thought they did. And then they have the bite life for 2 mana. So they probably feel like they can drag this game out in resources if they just keep this board.
Yeah, it does seem like it's coming down to more of an attrition fight at this point. You know, they're probably not going to get burned out. They're at 17, gaining 3 a turn. But getting outcarded by Mage is definitely something that could happen. Let's see what G2 is going to do about this Gul'dan play.
Oh,
I think we have to Acolyte ping. And
Yeah, we have to draw Glyph into Nova. That's like the only way I can see, but even then we probably don't win. Ah, then we have a chance. Okay, just get Nova.
Nova.
Ah,
That's right. Oh, vaporize.
Time runs out on me.
I'll pick missiles. It's damage.
trade first, or? No, with the free one, right? Or do you wanna? Don't you wanna go face?
Yeah, I want to go face, but
Yeah, these are your mono mistakes.
there is no reason to go face. They proc us.
So
We have
23. Like
the 4/4 always goes face. So we just go face with the 4/4 first, or do we go face with them? No, actually, we always. Like we never trade with 2 minions, so I just go face with something first.
so we can broke ice. We can broke those secret without soulfire, right?
I mean, depends if it's barrier, right?
I mean, we have 19 already.
Oh, but you don't want to trade into the Acolyte?
Like, you're gonna get 2 card draws because of the. You're gonna get.
I'm just gonna go face with something first and check the secret.
Remember, like, if you hero power to pop the block, you don't get life.
Oh.
If you pop the block with the hero power, you don't get the life. You only pop it. You have to hero power before you pop them if you want. But I guess you hero power enough for minions.
You can just trade in soulfire face and trade with imp.
Play the free fruit first.
So yeah, roping. I guys, it's temporary. Just the secret thing might be off, but
Oh, okay, we're gonna want the card draw instead.
oh fuck, I messed up. I'm so sorry.
But
I messed this completely. Holy shit! I don't want to trade because I guess I do it. Yeah, I get to trade so anyway. Yeah.
but now we can like pop it. Oh, no.
At least we have soulfire. It's fine.
I know, but like I have no clue what I was thinking there for some reason. I thought I proc them at 3 this way. I don't need the attack.
I like it because like now we bait them to freeze, right, and we feel safe, and then we soulfire.
Debated. I didn't even.
We have sponsors, 6-0, please.
I have
Keeping
no
it family
words, Dan.
friendly.
I have no words.
Well, we paid you literally to have words.
Oh.
So try to say something, right, Ed.
What to do?
Oh man, you know, I feel like Planet Odd. This is something I see a lot in Team Hearthstone. You only have 70 something seconds in a turn, 70 flat, and you have 3 good players having a lot of opinions about how to play the turn optimally, and nobody wants to be that guy that made a suboptimal play that lost them the game. So you end up having discussion even on simple turns until the very, very end. And then all of a sudden, players try to, you know, execute everything in the right order, and the rope gets you. So I definitely think time management is a big part of playing in a team environment. But yeah, that turn could have gone very poorly for Planet Odd. But it worked out. They're still in a very good spot because of Gul'dan, but that Jane is coming up.
Yeah. And Planet Odd, can they kill both Doomsayers and pop the Ice Block this turn? I don't think so. In fact, I think they're 1 damage away from doing that because how do you say it? Acherus veteran?
Acherus is what I say. But I don't know.
Acherus. Yeah.
Speak your peace.
Oh yeah, they get the Despicable Dreadlord damage.
Oh yes, I for some reason just forgot about the Despicable Dreadlord on their board.
Yep.
Well, it works out perfectly then. Or does it?
It does.
Does work out perfectly.
Does
Fireball's not enough.
Yeah. Oh, that's brutal. Yeah, G2 is so close to restabilizing too. If it wasn't for that second Soulfire plus the Atreus top deck, like they needed
just any
damage.
plus damage instead of just board building.
Yeah, that is. Yeah, for a long time, Planet A was ahead in this early game, and then it looked like G2 was in a position where they just couldn't lose. And then Doomguard 1 in 3 RNG doesn't discard Gul'dan. The only way they stay in the game. You follow that up with the Atreus top deck, and it was just, it was, the latter half of that game definitely had a lot of things go right for Planet A, and they definitely needed all of them to win.
Was it the good plays and discussion from Planet A, or is it that Soul Red Bull can sitting on his bed, just erect onto the mattress there and sticking out like a sore thumb? Just doing a good job repping the Red Bull brand, I guess.
Yeah.
So is a Red Bull athlete.
Yeah. Well, just gave him wings.
Is that also a portrait of 6-0 in the background? I actually kind of just realized that he has a silhouette caricature of himself.
Yeah.
Above the bed. In case he forgot what he looked like.
What's weird about that, Dan? You don't have a. You know, I got a few self-portraits in my room. You know.
Find out they're doing well, 2-0, and even with room for improvement. I guess that's something that speaks volumes about the deck, or maybe volumes about the current state of maybe just how the meta is right now, with Warlock doing pretty well, and now Mage is gone.
Yeah, I hope we do see a couple more good games here. You got to kind of feel for G2 there. That everything RNG-wise that could have gone wrong did go wrong in the Mage game that they just played. And the Rogue game wasn't really a game. It was just one of those 10%ers where you draw a bunch of Shadow Steps and Leroy and patches. Yeah. You just don't really get to play a game. So
it's a non-game.
Yeah. Well, to be fair, though, it's one of the advantages of Zoo as well, is you don't really have those types of games where you just have a mediocre draw and you can't do anything. It's fairly consistent in that you're going to play stuff pretty much every game. But yeah, that's exactly what you want. It's just one deck to kind of take it away for a while here, and seems like Zoo's overperforming.
Yeah, well, Tice is coming out, so wondering what's behind the G2 cover here, because the thing about last year's standing is that you do account for losing twice most of the time, or losing once, because you're trying to cover it twice. But if it loses twice, then what do you do after that? This is the second deck that they can use to counter the Warlock, and if they lose here, that's when you start thinking about sweep potential, because you usually don't cover a deck or specific class 3 times over.
Yeah, it's time for G2 to start drawing some Kelseths.
Kelseths. Well, we'll see what's in store here.
Ooh, Control Warlock. So this is an interesting matchup. I wonder which deck's favored. I feel like I got to give it to Control Warlock. What do you think?
Yeah, they have so many AoEs, right? With Defile, Dreadlords, Hellfire. Some even play Twisting Nether just as a one of. And
I played 2 of it, man. I couldn't say.
Do you put Medivh in that deck too?
I did, yeah. I put in Medivh. I'm thinking of just cutting the demons and getting rid of Gul'dan, to be honest. But yeah, it's an interesting deck. One thing I've noticed about the Zoo deck, having played a decent amount of Control recently, is that even though they do have that Gul'dan, once you play it, you can't life tap anymore. So, if you can deal with that initial wave and you're just twisting Nether, and your life total is at a point where you're not getting burned out by Gul'dan hero power, a lot of times Zoo just kind of loses, even if they Gul'dan against Control in the late game. But we'll see how this plays out here.
Yeah, as long as you're hero powering every turn with Gul'dan, it's like 4 mana worth of value, right? 6 damage in some
Yeah, but if your opponent's at 15 and you have no board, it's just not going to win the game on its own. Versus like Jiraxxus, which would just win from any position.
Look at some of the tech already kicking for G2. A turn 1 Hungry Crab. That's something to keep in the back of your mind if Planet A drops this game.
Yeah, I think I remember seeing a Trinity Series game where they double Hungry Crab to Murloc Paladin.
Yeah.
That was filthy. Well, we know Planet A is not going to counter Q it. Seems like there's a lot of options here for Planet A as far as like what to lead on. This is one of the more important turns in Zoo, is just turn 1. When you have that coin, a lot of 1-drops, you really have to think through, not just what's going to happen next turn, but what's going to happen 2 turns after that. What's the best way to sequence my cards against his turn 2 play? I mean, they're taking Doomsayers into account. They're taking onboard trades into account. Defile is a card. You can't really play around everything, but you need to kind of assess risk and reward here and figure out the best line.
Well, you can also play with the fact that G2 kept only one card, and it was the Hellfire, I believe. Everything else they mulliganed, and they hit a 1-drop. So what would they keep and what would they play around? Let's go ahead and start tuning into the teams for these early turns.
So is it the tap or is it the Mortal Coil?
I would say coil.
Yeah, we can tap next turn.
Actually,
I'm not sure if he.
tapping is better because we have Hellfire.
We take quite a bit of damage, but we get one more card.
I mean,
Yeah, and he is pretty often maybe even gonna make the trade. The 3-2 and a 1-2 trade, and then at turn 3 we have Mortal Coil into tap or into whatever we draw.
What if they have like Kelesif Coin Pirate? Then we just coil the pirate, right? So
Then we still have Hellfires. It's not. Yeah, I think we. I want to tap here.
Tap, 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 tap.
That's good. We are always gonna tap 1-drop now. I think next turn that we at least have some cards to keep up.
If we play double 1-drop, we have to trade because otherwise you can just like set up Defile. But we can play double 1-drop trade.
Defile, right? It's like it's Defile with the 1/1.
Yeah, just trade the 1-2 and then Defile. But you can play double 1-drop trade if you want to. Like coin captain trade is like so bad against Defile.
Against Golaki for.
I think just double 1-drop like Void Walker and Imp.
Say they Defile, how bad is it? Because then they don't have Defile for later.
I think Captain could be better even if they have Defile.
Why?
At least we can create 3 1-mana minions next time.
I mean, the Void Walker Imp now we can just like coin double, like play all the pirates.
If they Defile, because Defile is always going to be good.
1 mana.
Like, damage base is also relevant.
I think I want to trade. But do you want to go face?
You can trade.
So in a set phase, I think.
It's also like if they Defile, they don't have Defile.
Maybe Defile isn't like too bad if they do it, but
the initiative.
And then it's like
not much else we can do. Let's hope they don't have the buffer. Do we make the attack? There's actually some reason to attack here.
Of course, attack.
Yeah, attack.
There is no reason not to. Like
Yeah, it's also nice if they have the buffer, the 4-mana buffer on all the bar.
If they have 4-mana buffer, it takes 2 damage extra. Because they have to trade with. No, it doesn't.
They're probably gonna. Yeah, it's hard to say.
Actually, this trade is same as not trading because of our game plan. But it might matter for Defile.
You can play Dread. No, I'm not sure. Like I think I kind of like it, but
like there's higher chance we draw patches if we do that.
Yeah, but is that enough to play around? Like then, I would play Prince Coin Tap here. What do you think?
Yeah, that makes sense.
And I want to not trade with like leave nothing at 1 HP, so I have the Mortal Coil to Defile. Like trade this.
No, yeah, never mind.
Come on, dude. Oh, actually, everything does Defile anyway. Do we just go face? Is any punish for leaving us up? I don't think so.
Yeah, just pace.
Like maybe in.
Or they can like face this gameplay.
I mean, I could like kill the 1-2 with Train Soul and trade it to 3-1 or play Mind Control Tech maybe. But yeah, I don't feel.
That Prince Kelesith draw was pretty massive there for Planet On. Being able to have serious long game against the Control Warlock. But Control Warlock still has some really powerful tools, so it still makes me question whether or not they're going to be able to take it.
Yeah, I mean, that was the single best card in their deck they could have seen at that point. That was so massive because the mid-game AoE was coming anyway. And if you're going to have a minion get cleared off, might as well just buff the rest of your deck for the rest of the game. That's just so powerful. And at this point, it's going to make the Mortal Coils, the Drain Souls, the Defiles, all, you know, a lot of the Warlock board clears and removal are going to be a lot less effective at this point because of that. And you even got to get Kelseth down before the patch's turn, which is the single most powerful synergy with Kelseth. I do personally believe Kelseth is kind of an overrated card in a lot of cases, but when it's at its most powerful, when it is at that oppressive power level, it's almost always because of that patch's interaction.
Yeah. Especially if you're able to get it early on for board control, because the patches is free, and if you're able to buff it up even more with the South Sea Captain, it's up getting really good.
I just...
Why do you call? Speak your peace.
I don't know, Dan. Maybe I'm just bad at Hearthstone, but I'm pretty sure I was just wrong.
What about it you didn't like?
I just would have...
Just played Captain
Yeah,
pressure?
yeah. I mean, just like use your mana to play dudes and life tap afterwards, you know?
What are they afraid of on turn 5? Turn 5 is the Despicable Dreadlord turns usually. So it seemed like they were... I mean, when you life tap and you're not grabbing forward, it's because as you're trying to take a specific line to play around stuff, or you're trying to extend the late game. But late game, you lose against Control Warlock.
I mean, they might feel like they just need to start tapping earlier when the board presence they would develop is comparable anyway, by tapping and playing these two versus like Captain Bloodsail or something.
Gotcha.
And they might just be wanting to get a lot of life taps in so that, you know, they do have that Gul'dan on 10, so that, you know, they do draw their Doom Guards. But yeah, man, in a deck with like double Doom Guard, I'm a big advocate of just playing your dudes first. But
right. Life tap later.
And to be fair, that's how we played Zoo back in the day. But, you know, nowadays, this deck is very different compared to traditional Zoo lists. So the strategy might change as far as how you want to curve out.
I mean, you also, I mean, both they're not mutually exclusive ideas. You could be right and bad at Hearthstone.
It's true.
Yeah. There's some Venn diagrams of how that overlaps somehow.
Yeah.
Well, we got to deal with the Dreadlord somehow. Patches is a 3/3. What a board. Let's go ahead and tune in and see how GT is going to deal with this board. But they have to file, so it's looking good.
Okay, maybe not.
It's full clear though.
Yeah, you have to like Drain Soul one guy, Mortal Coil another guy, and then you defile.
You can play.
Or play the mixtures.
No, I think playing Coil is a bit better. Oh, wait.
No, it doesn't work with the pirates. That doesn't work.
So many.
Now I think maybe we can Coil the other pirate to draw the captain first, and then maybe not defile, but then no.
So we cannot make a tap. So do we want to do it with a Mortal Coil? We don't want to do it with the mixtures? Maybe Mortal Coil and then play mixtures on an empty board.
I like that a bit more. Just having the minion.
On empty board is better, yeah. Just having a minion.
So yeah, just Drain Soul, Coil, another guy, and then defile, and then Mistress.
Actually, yeah.
Trust me.
Does Dreadlord pass?
So bad Trip is Enforcer.
I think so.
I mean, do you really want a Mortal Coil to play, Soulfire to play around it?
No.
We could just tap, but...
Many possibilities.
Yeah, this kinda sucks.
I wonder.
Really good card we can tap into anyway, right?
Do we Soulfire? We just hope they don't have Abyssal.
I think we play and we don't have his deck. The 4/5 is not even that good against it.
No, like using 2 cards to kill a 2/1 kinda does.
Like a chance we can get Mega Same.
Yeah.
Otherwise you get value traded too. It's always no way. And then we just tap 1 or 2 turns, then we have cooldown.
It might be rough if they have the second one, but...
Nah, but that's fine, then we just tap. They are also at 40, you know.
they'll get healed. They'll get healed from Mistress. I don't think health total matters that much at this point.
I mean, they need to get second one. It's only punishment. And it's not even a punishment because they would have first one alive.
It's also nice that we now have double Voidwalker. I mean, if we can always go good on it then.
We can always stop the Abyssal, clear the second one.
Yeah. We also have Twisting Nether, right? Fuck their cooldown.
Yeah.
He might have Bone Mare.
Might. Of course.
So do we tap first or trade first?
I think we tap first.
I think we
Trading, coiling first is better if we draw Enforcer. We might want to play Enforcer.
Yes, exactly.
Do we even want to play Enforcer here?
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. You deny them the Bone Mare.
Yeah.
Okay.
What do we trade though?
We traded 2-3 Mortal Core, right?
Okay.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, looks good. So just tap.
Yeah, we just
Okay,
play both
that's fine.
cards.
Yes.
And you trade.
Actually,
He-
quick grab doesn't matter.
I think it's okay
I mean,
to play.
does it not matter?
It doesn't
That's
matter,
what-
yeah.
That's more.
I mean, it's
I mean-
control.
If they Bone Mare, do we ever want to Twisting Nether? That's the
bump,
question.
Bump.
I think we make the value attack here.
Yes, yes.
Yeah, always.
It might set up clear for something else rather than just twisting.
It clears Bone Mare this way, otherwise it wouldn't.
Whew, double Soulfire, double Bone Mare.
Yeah.
Is that good or is that bad?
Well, it depends entirely on how skillful this Soulfire is. Oh, and they're just going to choose not to play it. I like that decision. Yeah, it's definitely not worth the risk. You need that Bone Mare right now to come down and just give you a strong play going into next turn.
Oh man, the Hellfire would be so good if the taunt didn't complicate the trades.
Yeah, G2 Esports is in a bit of an awkward position. They have this Twisting Nether, but that's a really important resource in this matchup. They really want to hold on to it as long as they can. You know, ideally you play that card after your opponent plays Gul'dan. But, you know, this situation probably won't be an option. And they're really deciding, you know, do we just Hellfire this turn? Do we just life tap, trade in? And, you know, I think they have some life to play with. Personally, I would just life tap here.
I want to introduce to you a scenario. G2 life taps, and let's say they just do nothing. And then Planet Odd has 23 damage through double Soulfire and Bone Mare if they don't discard it. That's how much burst is actually in the zoo.
That's not that much, is it?
Well, now they
It
have
would've been
10,
18.
14, 18, yeah.
Yeah, there was no scenario where the Flame Imp would live. But yeah, you're right. That was...
It's crazy to think
option.
how much damage from the zoo, just from that.
Yeah, Soulfire's a hell of a card. Get 2 of those out. 8 damage out of nowhere. Used to play that in Control back in the day. Seems like a pretty straightforward life tap Bone Mare turn here for Planet Odd. Bone Mare. Gonna get in there.
You know, it was one of my favorite decks from back in the day, too. It was the Malygos Warlock, where you'd use Soulfire and Dark Bomb.
Oh, yeah.
That was so cool. I love that.
Yeah, that was a fun deck. Despicable Dreadlord gonna help G2 recover here.
Yeah, and that's going to be hard to chew through. Let's see if Planet Odd can climb their way out of this one.
Okay. Just concede, or do you wanna? Next, I guess we can see if we can see some more cards.
Soulfire something. No.
I mean, they have 2 Void Dragons, but we can maybe like make them show some cards somehow.
You had like
I'm just
cooldown
gonna-
this turn, maybe.
So
Yeah. Just do some.
Just pray everything and Soulfire, yeah.
I think I Soulfire first. Like, I don't want to discard my second Soulfire.
I think.
GG's.
Don't play Happy Go.
Yeah. We didn't show them Twisting Nether either, that's quite nice.
GG's. Bam.
And as you can see, the meta within Trinity is even developing, where they just want to make sure not to show certain important cards. So Happy Ghoul being one of them, Twisting Nether being another. I actually really like Happy Ghoul in some of those Warlock lists too. I think it has a lot of untapped potential.
Yeah, it's definitely a powerful card. It's an interesting choice that, you know, a lot of people are opting for. But, you know, so far, Warlock's doing pretty well.
Yeah, it's won every game.
Yeah, it's been performing well. I will say the Rogue game was a bit of a non-game, like the Warlock versus Rogue. And the Mage game should not have been a win, rightfully, in my personal opinion, as far as, like, if you play that game out with the same draws 100 times, I think Warlock loses most of the time. But that game was pretty standard. There wasn't any absurd RNG. Both decks just kind of did what they do pretty well. And just unfortunately a bad matchup for Planet Odd. But, I mean, nevertheless, this class is just, you know, something that we saw almost none of before Knights of the Frozen Throne. And I'm just really glad to see it kind of resurging into prominence with two archetypes that are competitive.
Yeah, the Control Warlock especially. And what's cool, too, is that there's different ways you can build it. Kind of like how Freeze Mage and Control Mage are very distinctly different. There's Handlock, which plays very proactive and tempo-oriented, and then you have Control Warlock, which is more defensive and fatigue-oriented.
Yeah, cool. The Control Warlocks all, you know, differ by up to 12 cards.
That's true.
There's a lot of variety.
Do you have a personal favorite that you like to ladder with?
Right now, I'm a big fan of Double Twisting Nether and Medivh. I like that a lot.
It's really slow.
Gonna mess around with cutting the demons all together. Gnome Feratu's getting people once in a while.
Oh, that's right. There's a Mill Warlock deck that Dog got top 10 legend with. Did you see it?
Yeah, I did see his list. Mine's kind of similar to that, I guess. I call it Hate Bears. I play all the anti-combo cards in Hearthstone. It's like double Dirty Rat, double Gnome, double Cold Light.
Yeah.
You're just like cheesing priests left and right, and it's still pretty good against aggro, so it's a fun deck.
God, double Dirty Rat. You're the worst kind of Hearthstone player.
Well, yeah, I did. Don't get me started on that card this week. I'm over it.
G2 is doing well with Warlock, it seems like. And it's interesting, too, because they've always been bringing Control Warlock, and they've always been bringing Control Mage. So you can see the specialties of the teams really coming out to play. Both Tice and Neyria are both very good Mage players, so I expect to see it for weeks to come. Their win rates, of course, with other classes haven't been as high. And G2 is definitely one of those teams that has been around for so long that people expect them to do well. And, you know, because Tice, of course, two-time European champion, RDU, one game away from Worlds this year, losing to Colento in spring. And then Neyria is qualified for Worlds. But it seems like all these new teams are, like, dethroning G2 in terms of who's, like, on top as the Hearthstone squads to beat.
Yeah, it's tough to say. We don't have too many team tournaments outside of Trinity Series, but it's cool to see, you know, everybody kind of clash, you know, in this league and see who comes out on top.
Yeah.
Hearthstone's at a point now where, you know, it's no longer like the early stages where we only had a couple teams that were really solid. Like at this point, there's a lot of great players, a lot of pros that are all capable of competing at the top level. And
sorry.
I was actually about to say this, but I didn't. It was so off topic. I didn't even want to mention Quest Warrior.
Go ahead.
This deck, man. I was playing it last night. I was just like, screw it. I'm gonna try it out. It is so good.
Yeah.
It's actually so good, and it hard counters Warlock. Like Control Warlock cannot beat the Fire Plume's hard hero power. Like there's just no scenario. You play Brawl after they play Gul'dan, and they can't possibly win the game.
It's really interesting. Let's go ahead and tune into how G2 can potentially swing it now that they know it's Quest Warlock.
I think
Not if they complete the quest.
it's better than Zop Warrior. At least should be.
We still padding into them, right, if we lose?
Yes, of course.
Okay, so let's just focus then. Tap, right?
Yeah. Gotta get the hopefully Gul'dan fast.
I mean, the thing is, we always will try to keep up pressure.
Nah, the deck rushes not so well.
Okay, just downhill.
Yeah.
Out of my jungle!
Sunwalker?
Yeah.
Seems like the best, yeah.
It's fine. Can be really good later, maybe, if they
It's really good against like hero power, but if they have Whirlwind hero power, then it's not so good.
Just to get like have 2 minions on board.
Yeah. So now you agree with Ghoul?
Yeah.
All right, so a couple of questions that I have, but why don't you go ahead and finish explaining why you think this matchup is so good for Warrior?
Well, it just comes down to the way that Warlock intends to win games. It really wants to play an attrition game and, close out by playing a Gul'dan and basically getting insurmountable value. There is no value stronger than, a Ragnaros shot indefinitely for the rest of the game. It really outpaces the Gul'dan hero power. It gets you board control, kills the opponent. And, it's just overall kind of... The Warrior Quest kind of gives you inevitability and control matchups in a pretty aggressive way. So just because of that, it's almost impossible for Warlock to execute its game plan. And that's what makes Warrior so favored in this position. But, to be fair, Planet Odd doesn't have that good of a draw here. Well, what you want against Warlock is just a lot of taunts, a lot of cheap ones. They do have Primordial Drake, which is a little bit on the slow side. That Dirty Rat's going to help. But, if they draw a few more spells, maybe some weapons, and don't get that quest online fast enough, there might be a chance for G2 to come back here.
Yeah, what do you think about, speaking of small taunts, what do you think about that Stonehill Defender? We see 2 of them in the Warlock deck.
Yeah, I mean, it's just a perfect example of how much variety we see in Warlock. Some lists do play Stonehill. I'm not sure why. I mean, there are some decent value cards you can get off of it. It's a solid play on turn 3. But I mean, between that and Hungry Crab and Happy Ghoul and Drain Soul even, we're seeing a lot of, uncommon tech choices in the Warlock deck. So it's kind of, I don't know, just cool to see that much variety. Stonehill, as far as Warlock class cards, we got Felguards, Voidwalkers, but let's just listen. Tarlurkers, yeah. Well, let's listen to G2 and see how they're going to navigate this game.
Interesting.
Trade Hellfire is a line.
No. Never.
You don't like it?
I will go Telnos, Drain Soul, Hungry Crab, Happy Ghoul. Just spam all these mediocre cards. Yeah, like we could trade it, and then you go Telnos with spell power, and you have an Happy Ghoul. Like this, it's never gonna work, man. Otherwise.
Okay, then go for it. I was thinking that we can play Happy Ghoul with Siphon Soul next turn, but I think we can play Sunwalker with this line, so it's probably better, yeah.
I think we also play the Hungry Crab.
No.
Yeah, no? I would play it if they brawl.
No, they would never brawl.
They will never brawl it, but I'm like, when do we ever not? I wanna have maybe even space for tap in the future.
Okay, it's fine to play. Just Drake will be low HP, but I guess it doesn't matter since they will execute it anyway.
Good job, team.
Pushes damage, so we should do it. They play Curator.
I mean, we can consider Sunwalker.
Sunwalker is quite good.
I think Sunwalker is the best here.
I think you want to siphon bigger minions.
Yeah, they're not
around Curator the best. If they curate it, they don't get a hatchling.
Okay, if they only play, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, then I like it a little more even.
If they Curator, we just siphon the Curator.
We could bump Talons. Okay, whatever.
They use the Whirlwind defects. I don't see a reason to bump Talons.
Yes. You're right.
Do we dirty red? And it's quite likely to pull Abyssal, but...
And we, based on maybe what will we execute?
We could well execute, I guess. I guess we go for it. Like then we also whirlwind away the Divine Shield. So like if he trades with it, we can kill it with Drake next turn.
And whirlwind for Ekala.
I mean, minus one whirlwind.
Body Prey. We're in the quest, right? We're in red.
No.
Damage on the Abyssal.
Yeah, if they play Abyssal, I want to whirlwind execute the Abyssal Enforcer. Like if I get
Okay.
Abyssal Enforcer from Dirty Red.
Play whirlwind, I think.
Okay, now we don't need to play it. Now we just heal Power Pass.
Yep.
Man, there's a lot of minions on the board and a lot of tension here, but I think G2 should be able to read into a very easy Primordial Drake. Your opponent just floated so much mana with a ton of minions onto the board. But you kind of mentioned this, you know, Planet Odd just doesn't really have a lot of card draw, and they're just kind of drawing air at this point.
Yeah.
The quest's only, what, 2 or 3 out of 6?
Yeah, it's not too far along yet. It's pretty much worst case scenario. You know, this matchup is heavily warrior favored, almost to the point of like freeze mage versus control warrior back in the day, where, you know, one deck, warlock in this case, should have almost no chance of winning. But the games that it can win kind of involve this kind of draw. Basically, the warrior takes way too long to get its quest online. It's drawing a bunch of spells like Whirlwind, Execute, but it's not drawing Brawl. And when that happens, there's no Stonehill Defender, there's no fast chain of taunts, you can get wrecked.
Probably my second favorite card from the expansion, the Lich King itself.
Yeah, I love that card. It's so fun to play with.
And it actually is pretty good in just even control Warlock in general. Just even plop it, it just has a real strong turn 8 proactively. I
play it in my Taunt Warrior. It's pretty good.
Yeah.
But it's a card that I think is honestly criminally underplayed in the metagame. It's very, very powerful.
Yeah.
Well, we might see it come down here.
Seems solid to me. They could draw cards as well. Let's go ahead and tune in G2 and see what they're thinking.
I like Siphon, and then at turn 9 we play Lich King. I can tap Siphon, and then at turn 9 I can play Lich King Mixtures. Or do we want to drop Mixtures now?
I don't think we want to. I think we tap.
Basically now it's like weapon fishes, and if they full clear, and then we have nothing for next turn.
No, I don't like it now, but I'm thinking if what do we do more with Siphon, if we tap or not.
I would tap. Yeah,
I like tapping more too.
We have nothing in hand. Like if you had a Drake from the start, I would say Lich King is fine to play.
4-7 is what they are now with the quest.
So just double.
Oh no.
Yeah.
Because if you get like a equivalent Lich King.
We can't pick the middle one because we need to like be able to like play weapon hero power next turn.
So we stagger them?
2-6 is just better than 1-7, right?
Yeah.
Do we ever play this turn to get one more hero power in?
Don't think so.
No. This way we have the option to play Whirlwind next turn if we want to.
Actually no. We don't need heal now.
But we can also go trade both in the 6-9 Hellfire, Mortar Coil, Twilight Drake.
Oh, it's actually should be better, right?
kind of like it.
I think I like it too. It's just the Hellfire is not so easy
also
to
wait
pull.
execute.
Yeah. I like it.
You can complete the quest next turn. That's a bit annoying.
The only bad part that this Drake is in range of.
And also Lich King becomes weaker.
Yeah, but I mean,
if we miss, do you want to smoke with the weapon? Okay, easy.
Do you smoke here?
We have both our weapons left, but I think
I'm not sure. I think we just keep it.
Yeah. It's unlikely that they have weapon removal.
The Lich King. I think we coil Lich King Mistress.
Yeah. I like that too. I don't like the Gul'dan yet.
We need to put a bit more demons.
yeah, we only have one, right?
Yeah.
It's like nothing.
We can just clear it on board.
Do we play Voidwalker?
No, because they can kill it with the weapon.
Uh-huh.
Yeah,
They
but
cannot
same
touch-
for
No, they cannot
same
kill
for
the Mistress.
Mixtures.
No, Lich King has
Oh,
taunt.
okay. Oh, yeah. Okay, you mean so.
Yeah, like we forced him to win at 33%.
Weapon. Easy, weapon.
And that's really bad, steal a minion.
Nah, weapon is the best.
Yeah, it's been kind of interesting how the past few turns have developed here. So G2 opted for siphoning the Primordial Drake, I believe?
Yep.
Rather than playing the Lich King, which basically meant they were playing reactive and gave Planet Odd a little bit more time to get their taunts online, and that Stonehill draw was just perfect for them, because that let them enable the quest just on its own.
It was the punish that we've been waiting to see for a while.
Yeah, it's a little bit unintuitive and hard to do, especially with the Warlock, just because of the way the deck's built, but you really do have to consider yourself the aggressor in this matchup. You're never beating Firebloom's Heart in the long game, so you have to hope that they don't draw that many taunts and that you can basically just beat them down, you know, kind of overwhelm them before that gets online.
Yeah, and a lot of the decisions stacked on each other. So because they didn't play Lich King, they weren't able to force out Planet Odds like execute, or they were able to kind of develop proactively themselves instead of for the quest. And then G2 had, you know, like one less card to make their Twilight Drake just a 4/8, which meant that it got hit down with the hero power. They didn't have to exchange anything else. So all these little small things end up having a domino effect. And now G2 is in a terrible spot with Void Walkers up against Ragnar's hero powers. Gul'dan can stall, but it's like you mentioned, Warrior has the inevitability. Now, the big thing, though, is Planet Odd doesn't have a way to deal with you know, like a very wide board, considering that they only have minions. They don't have like a very crucial brawl. And it seems like they've played out most of the cards that they kept early on, so G2 could use that information as well, maybe to their benefit.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, to be fair, this matchup, like I said, is incredibly lopsided in favor of Quest Warrior, to the point of, you know, I think at like pro level play, I would say Quest Warrior is at least like 90% in this matchup. So if you're G2,
it makes it one of the most lopsided games in Hearthstone.
Yeah. It's like I said, it's just below like that Freeze Mage Control Warrior threshold, or like Quest Rogue versus half the field. Surprising that's not played more, by the way, but
yeah.
But yeah, I think if you're G2, yeah, there's some things you could have done better this game, but at the end of the day, I don't think it'll change the result.
Right. You kind of still feel like it's the average result, right?
Yeah. But yeah, we're going to see Planet Odd developing minions for a couple more turns, pushing their hero power, but not really caring where it goes too much. And taking it from there. Whew. I don't know that that was worse or better than hitting minions. It's all roughly the same at this point.
Given that Gul'dan can come down to some more minions, and because Void Walkers will come back, it does feel like hitting minions would be slightly more preferable.
Yeah, you know, I wonder if there's something in Planet Odd's deck that could bail G2 out. You know, maybe there's...
Oh, with Death Grip, you mean?
Yeah. I mean, maybe they played Lich King, right? And you need to just Death Grip into Lich King. Maybe that was the play. Armor Smith, okay.
Helps.
Okay, I mean, clearing the board, doing some stuff. That Acolyte Bloodrazor combo gonna...
Oh, that's so nasty. And a Curator draw. Let's go ahead and tune in Planet Odd's plays here.
Let the pain speak to me.
I still attack first and hero power, because then if you go face against Lich King, against Death Knight, they're dead. Like Death Knight gets into 8 HP. It's just too convenient.
Also like that you can get like fishes.
We draw in one is...
Yeah, I have to
Yeah, we have to go down.
Forged in blood and shadow.
It's so little that we gain.
Good useful stuff here. What's the sequencing here?
75% win rate, right? It's only the 4/5 that may not survive, right?
Right.
But
it's
you don't consider about red here?
I mean, you can consider red, we can consider keeping the trading with the Acolyte. I think I like red and trading with
Trade
I start with the red.
Yeah.
Actually, no, I start with the trade. Maybe get a guaranteed Lisa, whatever.
Huh.
This is guaranteed Lisa, right? No, we don't have the mana. Do we have the mana? We have the mana.
I think we have a reserve here. No.
Yeah, no, Brawl is
You okay?
Lisa. Brawl, if the 4/5 rise, we attack it, we sleep with the fishes, we
Oh,
heal.
yeah. I was thinking about Blood Raider and Fishes.
I mean, there's other ways to do this well, but this is Lisa. We only show Brawl, which we don't really need to hide anyway, since we can't expect that.
Play feet.
Quest Warrior getting on the board for Planet Odd, and that's an archetype we didn't consider either. Warrior, we're talking about Pirates, maybe N'Zoth Control Warrior, maybe Fatigue Warrior.
Yeah.
There's also Quest Warrior, which is actually the second best performing Warrior deck on ladder right now.
Yeah, it's actually very powerful. I didn't know there was data on it. Didn't know that many people were running it.
Yeah, significant sample size. And that's interesting too, because people said Warrior was dead after the Fire War accident. Maybe they're meant in power level, but in terms of its variety in tournament play, we've been seeing all kinds of Warriors.
Yeah, it really depends on the lineup that you're building, but it's cool that you can go on the extreme control ends of the spectrum, as well as play the more aggressive list with Pirates still, despite the War Axe nerf. Yeah, Quest Warrior is just it's a really cool tool right now that I think became a lot stronger because of the way the metagame is kind of adapted after the nerfs. The Raza Priest deck is just so dominant. Not just that, but a lot of decks like Control Warlock starting to increase in popularity, especially in a format like this where you're banning Priest. You're going to see a lot of that. Quest Warrior just gives you like a solid control deck all around, but you just have these massive like 90-10 matchups randomly that you can't lose, like that Control Warlock game. So good pick. I really like their lineup this week for Planet Odd.
Yeah, we've been seeing lots of diversity, and that's what we want to see here at Trinity. So we're about coming up at the halfway mark. First 6 will take the series. So as we go into break, Planet Odd is currently up 3-1. We return more action here from Trinity Series Season 2.
So many options.
seeing this?
Game, record, and stream without compromise. Only on Intel Core i7.
We're back here at Trinity Series Season 2, Week 3. My name is Frode, and I'm joined by Tempo Reynad, and together we are bringing you guys this week's action. We're currently in the middle of a series between Planet Odd Esports and G2, and currently Planet Odd's up 3-1. And the cool thing is we've been seeing different decks every single game so far. We've had Control Warlock, we've had Control Mage, we've seen Quest Warrior, Tempo Rogue. And what else is going to be behind the door here? What really takes out Quest Warrior right now?
Well, it's a deck that is, because of the Fiery War Axe nerf, actually a lot weaker to things like Murlocs compared to, how it used to be. You can still definitely get some big brawls and some good curves, maybe a lucky Dirty Rat that can help you out against the aggro decks, but just a solid minion pressure deck. Like Murlocs, here it is.
Oh, spoiler alert, we see it.
Oh, my bad.
Wow.
My bad.
But good call and good read here.
Yeah.
From both sides. Murloc Paladin is very powerful, even after the nerf, and even being touted by a lot of the data scientists in Hearthstone, saying that they think it's underplayed relative to its power level. They're saying it should be played a lot more given its win percentage and its strength, both in tournaments and on ladder.
Yeah, Murlocs is... it seems like they're playing the more mid-rangey build here. It seems like that's what G2 has opted for, excuse me.
Yeah.
And that is a type of list that does do better against control decks. You're not really worried about getting the board against other aggro lists. You're not playing things like Grimscaled Chum usually. But you are playing strong mid-game threats. Curators, Bone Mares, Tyrion sometimes, so...
And
Uther
of the Ebon Blades?
I don't think they're that ahead of the meta,
Spoiler alert, no one's that ahead of the meta.
Reynad's that ahead of the meta, damn. Reynad's ready for that Uther meta.
It's a surprisingly good card too. You know what's my favorite thing with Uther of the Ebon Blade? This is a small side that we can listen in. I love Blackguard with Uther.
Yeah.
That interaction is so cool.
Yeah, that card's filthy.
And then I've had like Blackguard with True Silver Champion, just like solo Hunter before. Because every time I attack, I heal and it kills the minion.
You don't lose the charge. It's so
great.
good.
It's great. I'm waiting for that to be part of the meta.
Yeah. The only problem is the deck is so good, you're always at 30, so you don't get the Blackguard triggers.
That's the thing. I'm always at 30 life.
Paladin needs a Pit Lord or something,
That's so funny. It just heals so efficiently. G2, with their first play, is going to coin out the Hydrologist here. Any specific secret that you're leaning towards here, Reynad?
When in doubt, Getaway Kodo's usually the best one. Repentance can do some decent stuff, but you don't really want to lose that to like a Stonehill Defender early on or an Acolyte of Pain. So,
right.
Noble Sacrifice can be solid as well, but the current Warrior list, especially Quest Warrior, doesn't always play Fiery War Axe. It's actually pretty rare that it plays that card. So you're really only stopping like a Blood Razor charge. So, really surprised to see them take Repentance here. I think the goal here, since they're going to be playing Rockpool on 2, they're going to be playing Cold Light on 3, Blessing on 4, Finja on 5. They're not playing that Repentance for a very long time. And because of that, I actually agree with G2, thinking about it now. If they're going to play Repentance late game, that has the potential to be very powerful. So let's see how Planet Odd's going to stem the bleeding here.
I think probably Defender. Yeah.
Yes. So against Captain, you could get like 1 more armor and 1 more damage on the
But
thing.
1 damage does nothing.
Well, I mean, it makes Dice a whirlwind. Like he would double trade anyway if plays.
Oh, yeah.
Like Warrior got nerfed.
Yeah.
Like you've played Warrior in your tournament winning deck.
But we have Brawl.
How do we get punished for the attack?
3 mana weapon.
Of the Hydro list again. Like also if they have like another
No.
Pool Hunter,
So you wanna go
Pool
first?
Hunter, the free.
I think Faith.
Sure.
Job done.
Only 29 armor smith attacks left.
Right?
Yeah, just to
And
see,
trade.
right?
Yeah, Seer double trade.
Next turn we can actually not Kings but Repentance Blade. It's possible. to block the 5-drop. Oh, these fishes.
Nah, it's okay.
Sweep right.
Take the
Probably
finger
on the right. Yeah.
Yeah.
We get so much armor because of Farmer's Man.
3 armor, but yeah.
And 7 life.
We just go face red.
Yeah.
Like, the thing is, if they play Megastore, but like I said, Megastore, like go for plus attack to do all the trades, we are fine with that. We just scared of Megastore for like this red.
But they should also play around Racing of Kings. So go face.
Also, we don't care about poisons.
No.
5 after 4.
So we just we just kings and we double trade like every time.
Yes.
They have to execute then.
Question is, do we
Yeah,
double trade?
We need to double trade that, right? The armor smith.
I guess it's okay. We have.
Otherwise they can drop like an LE armor smith and it keeps grinding
Yes.
armor.
Yes. Yes. Yes.
It's only bad versus fishes.
Fishes execute, but it's like they use 2 cards and they have like 2 left,
Yeah.
3 left.
We have to kill armor smith at some point anyways.
I like
Otherwise it just keeps getting them armor.
We have a good hand with the Curator too now and Tyrion.
I would say is
Yeah, I see a lot of what you're saying right now. Just without Fiery War Axes, Murloc board's already getting out of control, and anytime they pick up Megasword is going to be a huge threat to just win the game right there.
Yeah, it's a very tough position for Planet Odd to be in. On ladder, sometimes they'll have your Murloc opponent go wide, which is like a lot of small dudes. Maybe they won't be playing Blessing of Kings in their list. And you'll have a pretty spicy brawl that can kind of recover you. In this case, this is a solid brawl, but you need even more value than that.
Right.
You're playing against the mid-range list. They're going to have a lot of mid-game threats. I mean, as we see in hand, they got Curator, they have Tyrion. Paladin's not running out of cards this game. They're going to have strong plays all the way through turn 10 at least.
If G2 has Uther in their deck, would they be your second favorite Hearthstone team?
They would. They would.
Instantly.
I would be so excited. No, you think you know how good Uther is, but until you go Tyrion into that card.
I will say that it wouldn't be the first time where you said something like that, and then people started doing some things like that. I remember one of them was Baron getting in Paladin.
Yeah.
And you told me, like, well, I didn't want to play Consecration, but I still wanted to have the Consecration effect.
That's not what I said. I said Consecration is so important, you need a third one.
Oh, was that?
Yeah.
I thought you said something basically like, you wanted to consecrate with Baron Kit. Something along those lines.
Yeah, he was the third Consecration, basically.
Okay.
He is core to the deck.
I remember just like laughing at the idea, and then it started becoming a thing, and then I was like, oh.
Yeah, Reynad's always right, Dan. Remember that.
I already forgot.
Well, Finja is down, but probably not going to be attacking for a while, not till they can guarantee pulling some minions out. If Finja ever does trigger, that is going to make G2 vulnerable to a brawl.
Yeah, but the Murlocs being that you kind of want to pull out of the War Leader, and it seems like G2 is drawing everything but War Leader. So, or actually, is it gonna still be a War Leader? Because it doesn't actually improve too much of your board health-wise. So I wonder if you'd rather have Murloc's War Leader from the hand, so you pull out the smaller ones and then play the War Leader when you can get the damage guarantee.
Yeah, it's all more or less the same. You're getting 2 2s, 2 3s, just some more stuff. Really, Finja's there to make Megastore a lot stronger, which they will have after this Curator, and they haven't drawn one yet. I would expect G2 to just play their stuff this turn, basically all of it. Maybe they want to hold off on Grimscale Chum because they have that Bloodraiser they're staring down.
Yeah.
Oh, we're going to see nothing from them. That's surprising.
Guess that's part of the catch-22 of this this Finja situation for Planet Odd. They want to develop their quest progression, but in order to do that, they have to play minions, which plays into the Finja and makes Paladin's win condition even stronger against them.
Yeah, luckily for them, though, they do have that second brawl, so they're not too worried about Finja triggering, at least once or twice. But they do have to think about how are we actually going to win this game, right? You only have that's the last brawl. You're not clearing the board again beyond that unless you have a Sleep with the Fishes, and even then, they're worried about G2 Esports having cards like Bone Mare at this point, Curator, Tyrion, which they do have. So those standalone big threats, Sleep with the Fishes isn't going to deal with those. So you know, Planet Odd really does need to play minions, like you mentioned, because they just need to win the game. And they need to win before Paladin and get all those threats down, but we'll see. Luckily for them, no Uther to deal with this time around. Planet Odd carefully sequencing cards in a way where even if it was Getaway Kodo, they wouldn't get Finger back. Pretty good clear for them. If you're G2, you're not happy to see that. Lich King outplayed, and all of a sudden they're in it. Let's see how G2 responds.
Yeah.
Menagerie is for guests only.
We don't attack, right?
Depends if you want to play Tyrion next turn.
Don't know if we want to play Tyrion. I'd rather go for Megasaur. Like Murloc, Hero Power Megasaur is probably better.
They'll probably go for Dragon next turn anyway.
Shall we don't attack or no?
No,
I don't think we attack.
I don't know. Lich King pass. Like we could trade Exgrams, but nah, it is Lich King.
Might Bone Mare.
Decent.
Yes.
Do we ever silence that?
I'm not
I
sure.
have to.
If we silence that, we can also kill the free one.
Yeah, we kind of have to silence actually.
Silence double 1-drop Hero Power.
Or
First play the
silence.
Chum.
I was thinking of silence, GM War Leader maybe.
See what Chum buffs. If Chum buffs War Leader, we can consider that, but play Chum first. Huh.
Your magic shall not save you.
Still not sure if you want a War Leader or if you want a Valve in Hero Power.
They used double Whirlwind only.
2 wins used. They have now a card from Lich King.
Quickly.
I mean, technically...
Because
You
we
sure?
don't use it. We don't use it soon. But which one? Yes, for attack one, yeah.
Why? Isn't the free attack one better? Because
we kill Lich King if he trades into 4 attack minion, another 4 attack minion.
A little later.
Yes. I don't mind using
Like the most scary card, right?
I think really I must miss execute and trade into the War Leader.
What now?
You're gonna use the Quiver Rate on the 4-3?
No.
Why not? I'm not sure, I'm just asking.
I mean, I'm also not sure, but
I think I like using it.
Yeah, like, I'm not sure what
The thing
we're
is-
saving it for.
He would have used Tarim this turn, right? But like, yeah, I just...
Good trade for the Spill Player. I don't think he would necessarily use Terran this turn. But we don't kill him with like the
I tried into the War Leader. Tried into the War Leader and then like played this tremendous spell, right?
yeah, go.
Also, like if you don't kill the Spill Player, he can do like the basic trade.
Yeah.
Well, the Lich King helped generate some value here for Planet Odd, but they're still struggling a little bit.
I mean, look at how many cards they would have had if they didn't pull exactly Lich King off of Stonehill.
Here we go.
I mean, they would have been. This wouldn't even be a game at this point. They'd be staring down, 8 cards to 1 against an aggro deck that they're behind on board against. But because of Lich King, all of a sudden they're in it, and we have a bit of an interesting game. At this point, G2 is looking for a way to get the Sally Armorsmith out of the way, but then not mess up their development moving forward too much, so they can still keep the pressure up. They're considering, do we want to like War Leader because it's, besides Consecration, that's really the only clean way to trade into this. Do we want to play Megasaur? If we do that, should we just play Tyrion? They have a lot of options available to them, and it looks like they are going to opt for the War Leader line of play.
Must move quickly.
Yeah, that's a solid line. Means that Lich King is going to die no matter what he trades into. You get Scale Bane out of your hand, which is also great, because it's not always easy to do. This is interesting, because if it didn't buff War Leader, Lich King value traded into that. That could have been a rough situation.
Yeah, what are they trying to accomplish with this, too? Because they don't have ways to, like, really flood with Megastore follow-up afterwards, guaranteed. I thought they maybe wanted to use the Consecration in that point, but this is pretty...
I mean, at this point, if you're Planet Odd, you really have to try to think about what is your % chance of winning, and should we brawl while we have minions ahead? Looks like they are going to use it more defensively, which makes sense because their quest is at 6.
Right.
If it was at 4 or 5, I would consider going for the 1 and 4.
Wow.
Yeah, this is pretty good for both players, to be honest. You know, Planet Odd, from their position, you're 1 taunt away from chucking fireballs every single turn.
Right.
And from G2 Esports, what you have is pretty much the best late game in your deck, and a board that's pretty solid. So
yeah, they're on the verge of just breaking through.
Yeah, this is the first turn in a while where they're finally going to establish a board while Planet Odd has nothing, which basically means if Planet Odd doesn't hit that taunt minion, and they're just like treading water, they might have to pull the trigger on Brawl sooner than they want.
Well, Consecration is also available to play, so they can get past both minions with the Scale Bane. So Wind Fury is 12, 18 damage right now. Oh my goodness.
Yeah, it's a tough call. You've already seen one Brawl. They were choosing between that and Plants, I think. If you go for the Plants, you give a little bit more Brawl protection.
Right. They've used like a lot of Whirlwind effect, Ravaging Ghouls, and Whirlwind itself, and Blood Razor. So let's go ahead and tune in and see how Planet Odd's going to dig themselves out of this one, if they can.
You can consider sleep if it's a 5-2 survive, you probably use sleep then, but let's see.
Pain, speak to me.
Pesha, you're not scared of 2 cards?
Whirlwind.
I'm seriously thinking of trading.
Face is always better.
Yeah, face has to be better. Face has to be better.
Put your faith in the light.
You
Like,
guys.
they draw another card if they have a Whirlwind effect, but the Whirlwind effect is a card too, so it's not really doing much here.
I trade with Acolyte.
Yeah. Oh.
Do you play that or not? I don't think we play it. Does makes Tareem so much better. There's a
You could
26
pull
second out to be. Oh, I guess. On the other hand, I guess. Sorry?
Damage if you play. Maybe we don't play it because they don't have any good trades to Lich King right now, right?
Yeah. I mean, they could just steal the Tyrion.
Okay, just Rich King in here for.
They think that just 3 damage to everything.
I want to get the wipe minions and like discard some bullshit. Like the world clear.
Play the Morlock, right? Because there's no more Brawl, so whatever.
Wait a second. If you steal the 5-4 and trade a 1-1, we play around the Dragon Fishes really well. I think I like it more.
You also have 2 big threats.
Yeah.
Sure.
So you don't get completely wrecked by like an execute. I think if we do that line, we should play the Tidecaller too then, and Hero Power.
Don't we always play the Tidecaller and Hero Power?
Hero Power always, Tidecaller, I don't know. Yeah, I want to do it there.
Yeah, that line is fine.
I'm not sure if you play Tidecaller.
Like this is how the board... like this is the board state. We should play Tidecaller here.
Yeah, I think we play it. They say we set up lethal.
They won't do like red into something because they don't have second brawl. Or they don't have brawls.
Can we ever use like Obliterate first? Does that do anything?
It doesn't mean that we can kill the 2/6 if we want. Like we can obliterate and weapon down the taunt and then sleep with the fishes.
Then play the 2/6 at the end.
And obviously we play 2/6 right after the weapon. We can see what he gets, but that way we get Tyrion to exactly 2 HP, so we can trade and then go face for 5.
I think we play Razor, Fishes, and 2-mana spell on Tyrion and Red.
Okay, that makes more sense, I guess. Yeah, let's go for that.
Planet's gonna try and hope that their opponent doesn't have too much behind this big push here.
Yeah, Obliterate does not feel good when you're at that amount of life, but they did get the Sunkeeper Battlecry out of the way.
Yeah.
I mean, the thing about the Quest Warrior hero power is that if you're playing against Shaman or Paladin, you know, your opponent's hero power tends to kind of weaken, you know, your own. So in a matchup like against Token Shaman, for example, or against Murloc Paladin, I don't even keep the Quest. Personally, I think Planet Odd would have been a lot better off just not keeping Quest this game. And but you know, the deck is so unexplored that it's really hard to definitively say like what is and is not right to mulligan with.
Yeah, it is interesting because you do tend to think, well, you know, Murloc Paladin is a deck that will eventually outvalue you if you don't have the Quest, but that's something I didn't even consider. So definitely worth thinking about, I guess, if you're a player that's playing Quest Warrior, but like Reynad said, we don't even know ourselves.
Yeah, they might be... Yeah, that's pretty good.
The spiciness level of the Eye for an Eye is pretty interesting. You know that they have Quest. They finished it, so...
Yeah. I mean, it's the first time they take damage is probably from that hero power hitting them, so... To be fair, by the time that triggers, Planet Eye will know what it is. They'll probably be able to play around it.
If they can. I mean, the only way you can really play around is if you have either a board presence for... Well, you have board control over the Paladin, or if you use Sulfuras to only do 4. Wow, right off the bat.
Yeah.
Move quickly.
I like it.
They don't mess around. Remember back in the day, you could take Eye for an Eye and then hit something with your weapon, and the damage would trigger right away.
Yeah, that actually happened one time where I think Crypt played someone else's against another Paladin that kept buffing his own minion, or buffing Crypt's minion and attacked into it and dealt like 25. It was so funny.
Back when big minions were unplayable. Tink Master, 8-mana Mind Control, Blood Imp, Pyro. That was a fun meta.
2-mana Frost Nova.
Yeah.
Those were the days.
Well, I mean, at this point, Planet Odd is ready to start the Ragnaros train. Here we go.
Well, it's lethal if they hit face.
That's true. Bullet dodge.
Yeah.
Planet Odd missed lethal. That's
Well,
unfortunate.
I mean, it could be Noble Sacrifice right now, right? Or did they attack with a minion? No, they didn't. So it could be Noble Sacrifice.
They're thinking about Noble Sacrifice right now. It doesn't change the clock, but it does expose them to Consecration, number 2.
And then swing with the weapon deals 4, but then they're staring at Ashbringer, so they're guaranteed dead. This is looking...
I think attacking is... Well...
Don't they just... Oh, you mean to get Noble Sacrifice out of the way?
Yeah, I mean, I know, like, for us, this looks like a bad play, right, because it kills them, but it is the right attack to make, because you want to set up the 2-turn lethal. I mean, sorry, it's either Noble Sac or it's Eye for an Eye, so I guess either way it's not lethal, but you do need to, like, kill your opponent at some point, and you're going to want to use your Sulfuras Charge to do that next turn.
Right, because you want to swing next turn anyways.
Yeah. But yeah, again, good counter pick by G2, very favorable matchup for them, and despite Lich King off of Turtle shenanigans, they managed to get there. I definitely think some different Death Knight RNG could have done some work for them there, though. You know, if they had like the Doom Pact or if they got like Frostmourne.
Yeah, they got Obliterate instead,
Right.
which only dealt like 3 damage.
Yeah, not the best, not the worst. There's also the 3 damage AoE card that's busted, so. Yeah, well, either way, close series now. We're playing some real games of Hearthstone. I'm excited.
Yeah, that was really down to the wire on both sides. I actually didn't even pay attention to Paladin's health at one point. It went down to 11 by the end of the game, so it was a lot closer than I thought it'd be.
Yeah.
And now we get to see how Planet Odd adapts to Murloc Paladin. I mean, they have Shaman in their arsenal, but do they have something else up their sleeve that we're not thinking about?
Yeah, we got most of the patches out of the way.
Except for the Rogue, I guess.
Yeah.
I do think that there is a possibility as well. This is not a deck that I think will immediately get queued, but Planet Odd has Hoy on the Mage, and I know that they are big fans of Secret Mage or Tempo Mage. And I know Hoy is also specifically very fond of that deck. Maybe not necessarily it's a deck that we see very often, but I wonder if that's going to be in the back pocket of Planet Odd.
Yeah, I mean, it is proactive. It's strong.
Here's a couple of stats brought to you by Intel. We have hero powers used, which you can see Planet Odd was using it a lot. Armor gained, which tends to favor a class that has armor gained versus not.
Yeah.
I actually am surprised about the relative amount of minions played. I expect the Murloc Paladin to be way higher than that. That's surprising to me.
Well, you know, they got that Tyrion Curator scale bait draw.
That's true.
A lot of the big
Pretty
dudes.
heavy.
All right, well, excited to see Surrender play. I guess if you know you're going up against Murloc Paladin, what do you want to queue into that? The Shaman, maybe?
Yeah. I consider that to be the best matchup for against the Paladin, but I also think that the Rogue is pretty decent against Murloc Paladin too.
Absolutely.
And I think that's what they're going for. Rogue has been queued, and Surrender, we know, is playing that Rogue. Looking at the opening hand here, looks like Rogue's going to be on the play.
Ooh.
Wait. Both are on the play?
Might just be as.
Is that even possible?
Yeah, I think.
Whoa!
My guess is Rogue is going second because it looked kind of buggy when it first loaded in.
Gotcha. Yeah. It could be that the fast mulligans. We'll have to see if we can fix that. It's a little spectator bug on our end. Apologies. Yeah. For a second, I was like, dude, going second sucks. You lose a card now. You only have 3.
So these guys do play Chum.
Yeah, we saw them play Chum and Cold Light Seer. It seems like people have largely gravitated away from the Corpse Taker package, which I'm in favor of. I do not like Stormwatcher and all those other things too. But it was cute to see it being played for a while.
Yeah, definitely. Well, luckily for them, they got the Grimscale Chum Rock Pool on the play. What's that like? We got Patches to help counteract that from the side of Surrender. Hopefully not from his hand. Vilefin would be... Ooh.
That 1, 2, 3 though.
Yeah, I mean, G2 would love a Vilefin Inquisitor here, just so that their Rock Pool would actually work on curve and it wouldn't trade off into Patches. But yeah, I mean, from Planet Odd's side, there's no way you let that Murloc survive here. You can play deckhand every time. There's some consideration for Coin Hero Power, which is what they're going to talk about for a minute. And then there's some consideration for Coin Firefly after the deckhand, which is probably correct considering you're going to Hero Power turn 2. But yeah, all in all, not an easy turn to figure out and see what they opt for. Yeah.
Yeah, I guess with SI7 Agent and Vilespine Slayer, holding onto the coin has some real value.
Yeah, you really have to think about like the minions that your opponent's going to play, right? They know that Rock Pool is an option turn 2, and they know that Grimscale Chum, more importantly, buffed a minion. So they know that they're going to need like that 2 damage off SI to kill a potential 3/4 for 2, which is exactly what happened here.
Right.
That turn 1, even though they kind of breezed through it, was a lot more complicated than it looked. They had, 4 reasonable options, and they picked the best one and put them ahead on board.
And I feel like they could adapt to whatever happened. So if it was another 1-mana minion play, they had SI. If they had a Hydrologist, they could just simply Hero Power Dagger and keep their coin for Vilespine Slayer.
Yeah, I think we're going to see South Sea Deckhand clear that 3/3 off the table. And I mean, this is Planet Odd in a pretty good position. Let's see what they're thinking about.
We might Mega though.
That's okay, Mega, sorry. They kept their whole hand, guys. Well,
Maybe we go Tycoler Hydro Secret.
We can go Hydrologist, Hero Power, and then like,
nah, that's
Too big in the background.
It's way too slow.
Tightcaller Murloc Secret is good, but it's weak to backstab.
yeah, but I don't really feel the backstab. They've all the.
I wonder.
What are we super looking for secrets?
Get down.
Or Redemption. They will not know which one it is. They have to 50-50 it.
Yeah.
So just pick random
Up
one.
a bit. Take your time.
Yeah, I got Redemption and Getaway, both.
No.
I think it's Redemption, right?
But take your time. Just hover over two secrets maybe. Take a decision. I don't know.
No.
Oh, it's fine. But
Yeah, but you can choose. Like, I feel like it's more likely to be get down, honestly.
let's play Pride first.
Sure. Okay, I think I would attack first with the dagger, but because they're more likely to pick get. No, I think we attack first with the dagger. Because like they would expect us to trade first, more likely, right? I mean, it's
Don't you need dagger next time?
I'd like to hit with the free first because we don't have to raise the heal power then if it was die.
but I think it's more likely to pick get down because of that, because it's more convenient to attack with the 3 first.
We're gonna lose heal power, but the heal power is also we waste the heal power for nothing.
Okay, then
Choose soon.
to
I don't
attack with
know.
the SI first.
You decide. It's really hard.
Oh,
Tricky.
I Zapoi.
That's why you guys are the world champs.
So we don't fight it right and gentle, we just gentle.
Yeah, big gentleman here every time.
Gentlemen. Actually, wait, why did you...
Nah, we every time do this.
Poison us.
Yeah,
Poison on Edwin, right?
Yeah.
You can go health and value trade SI.
Oh, wait.
We stay with 2 health. That's okay. It's kind of like having Divine Shield. So...
They don't have backstab. They've all have played
I think
backstab.
to trade the 4-4 in.
I might wanna like the health maybe here, but I'm not sure.
Health is probably better.
I don't know, it's 50-50.
Nah, I think health is better. I think health
Yeah,
is better.
take health and kill SI.
They don't have backstab, we know that. They might have shadow.
Like-
Nah, I'm not sure.
Well, this decision...
Yeah, it was kind of a cool scenario there earlier on where, Planet Odd was staring down a Hydrologist secret, and it was a 50-50 chance, essentially, whether it was Noble Sacrifice or Redemption. And the way that they attacked, depending on the order, could have gone very poorly or very well for them. And on the surface, it looks like a 50-50 scenario. So you just kind of try to next level your opponent, which is what 6-0 is doing. But Hoy kind of quietly at the end there brought up the fact that, in the event that it is Redemption, attacking with the dagger first just wastes a charge. So it is strictly better to attack with the SI agent first, essentially. And that's the attack, over the course of 1 million games, you should make that attack every time. And I was just really impressed by that because that wasn't immediately apparent, and it's like those little edges that can really give you a big lead. And in this case, I mean, it did.
Yeah, give a huge lead. The 1 less minion for Megasaur, which you saw had either double poison or double health, and that's a dramatic swing on the board. So yeah, Planet Odd being able to leverage each other's strengths here, and Hoy is very good at those kinds of decks on both sides. He He's like, especially the mid-range paladin type decks is something that Hoy really specifically likes. And I remember famously he was able to sweep a Swiss and DreamHack specifically playing like mid-range paladin, secrets paladin, and everything like that. Oh,
Ooh.
Let me tell you about some of my new favorite cards in the meta, and one of them is Cairn Bloodhoof. And it's the fact that he's just so forgotten and how it's so counterintuitive. You don't expect Cairn Bloodhoof to be in necessarily a tempo-oriented deck, considering that it's more of a value card compared to like some other powerful 6-drops that you can play. But it just makes so much sense with Bone Mirror and a lot of other things you want to do.
Yeah, I mean, everybody's playing a 7-mana Blessing of Kings, and on top of that, your mirror match. The other rogue opponents have no sap, no hex. Like, they're killing things the hard way.
Yeah.
And that kind of
can't deal with the
environment.
4/5.
Yeah, exactly.
What are they going to do? Holy Fire the thing? Silence it? It's like, well, you still have a 4/5.
No, there's no way to tip the cow. It is really strong right now. Interesting turn here for Planet Odd. They're deciding between the Hero Power line of play or just using a Vile Spine. I think Hero Power looks a little bit better to me just because you kind of want to save those Vile Spine battle cries. They're pretty powerful.
Yeah, the Vile Spine gets really good when you can start like pushing damage behind it. Right now, the Vile Spine just kind of reactively deals a little bit of damage, and you can even develop similar power on board.
Yeah. Vicious Fledgling coming down, ready to be fun and interactive all over Uther's face next turn.
How long do you think until Vicious Fledgling is no longer playable and constructed?
Next expansion, probably. I mean, I
well,
really...
I mean, it's a play on the patch notes that it was just removed from Arena straight up.
Oh, was it?
Yeah.
Oh, it's awesome.
You're no longer able to pick it at all.
That's cool. Yeah, I don't like cards like that, to be honest. There's been a few in Magic the Gathering, some of the other card games I've played, where they do just run away with the game. And these glass cannon types of cards, from just a game design perspective, and a lot of times make one player feel very bad, no matter what happens. It's like no matter what the outcome is, you're upsetting one player in the game. So I kind of like them moving away from that in Arena, and constructed, it's still pretty strong. But let's see what Planet Odd is going to do with this Shadow Step now.
The hatching, predating.
No.
I think we need the value.
No, we can Shadow Step this Slayer at any point. Like we have Slayer on board that we can like threaten to trade Shadow Step next turn.
Okay.
Just the check phase dagger. Well, we don't hit the 1/3/1 duel.
We have the 5/4 next turn.
Do we attack 1/3?
That's what I'm thinking about. Like,
We're most likely gonna play it, right? So. Thing. What else is a thing?
Choose soon.
I like going phase. I like go phase. Since there's a good chance I just play Cheerio and I try to raise us with a weapon, right? And then I don't like taking damage.
Maybe we don't Megazord, who knows?
No, you finish a Megazord.
Yeah.
Ninja Megazord, yeah. We have Bone Mirror from next year.
Health, Divine Shield, this kind of stuff.
+1/+1.
I think it's better than the others. Maybe Wind Fury for like next turn.
No. Wind Fury is too greedy. Wind Fury is too greedy. We just need to win the board and we win.
No. If you pick Wind Fury, we can Bone Mirror and double trade with Finja. And we can now kill, attack into 1/2 and then kill the Fledgling. I like Wind Fury. It's better than one.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. No. You're okay. You're right. You're right.
We get double Murlocs.
Yeah. The +1/+1 doesn't do that much. It doesn't do almost that much. Yeah. Wind Fury has to be better.
We have to Bone Mirror, so it's always going off.
Like if they play on their own Bone Mirror, we can't really kill it anyway.
They didn't have Bone Mirror.
Now that's 7.
Like I'm just assuming we
If they top deck Bone Mirror, then it's very bad for us.
What I mean is like +1/+1 is irrelevant if they have Bone Mirror, because we can't kill it with Finja buffed.
Anyways, yeah. If they Bone Mirror their Kieran, that's so bad for us. We need to draw Tarim or Spellbreaker.
Yeah.
You know, one of the interesting things going into week 3 was how would Neria's addition assist G2. We all know it would help in some capacity, but I think one of the cool things about Neri is that he's very driven and outspoken about stuff. He's not really backing down, just saying this is the better line. And when Tyson and RDU, they're very opinionated guys themselves. It's cool to see that he's able to spot these variants like Wind Fury adapt on Finja with Bone Mirror follow-up.
Yeah, I mean, in this scenario, Wind Fury is just strictly better in every single way, and I'm really glad that he was outspoken. And a lot of times we have players being kind of careful to, nobody wants to make a call against the other two players on the team in the event that they're wrong.
Yeah, especially if the other two players are more popular than he is.
Well, yeah, but I mean, in this case, Nyria definitely made the right call there, and that is absolutely the strongest play. Yeah, that Cold Light's a great pickup here. One of the best things they could have gotten for 3 mana right there.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, this is dirty.
And the Finja lives too through it all.
Oh yeah, this is gonna be filthy.
Wow, what a board!
This looks a little better than +1/+1.
Yeah. Did Murloc Paladin get nerfed at all?
Your turn, Surrender. Your turn.
Yeah, time to scoop it up. That is game over. What can Planet even do?
They can play a Firefly.
I give up.
We are going into Game 7, tied 3 games apiece, and G2 finally able to break serve, winning 2 in a row. And Murloc Paladin once again showing that it is not a deck to be reckoned with.
Yep, that was a very, very just powerful showing from that deck. Just it's so consistent, like Murloc Paladin, especially a slower mid-range list like this. When those games where you do get your 1-drop, you do get your rock pool, you get a 3-drop, they feel so unfair because what you're doing at every point on the curve is just better than what your opponent's doing. And we just saw some really cool synergy there. Bone Mare, Wind Fury, Finja.
That looked awesome. I'm going to be trying to do that all the time now with Murloc Paladin. And what on the other side too? What does Planet do to answer this now? They had Rogue originally, and Rogue is supposed to be one of the best decks in this format specifically too, because you can ban decks to help make it even better. And it lost both of its games. It went 0-2 today.
Well, yeah, one of those was a non-game. I mean, you can't say that it's the deck's fault when you get that 5% draw with Patches, Shadow Step, Leroy. That happens to every deck. But yeah, this game, it did lose a game that it probably should have been favored in. And I mean, part of that was because of just how powerful the Murloc draw was, but at the same time, it makes you wonder, would something like Quest Rogue have been a better pick? Are people too zoned in on playing this Tempo Rogue list just because of its dominance on ladder?
Yeah, it's a really good question.
And there's also some interesting tech choices in here that could have been different, right? They're playing the Vicious Fledgling list. I don't know how I feel about that. I mean, I do know how I feel about that. I think it sucks, but that was an interesting choice. Yeah, it's hard to say that they would have won if that was something else. So they were far enough behind at that point that was a tough one to win.
Yeah, and it felt like Rogue wasn't doing much on the board, but it turns out they were playing as many minions as Murloc Paladin essentially. And I think about it too. Murloc Paladin had that 1-2-3, but Rogue had an answer every time and still was unable to convert because of how powerful that Finja swing was that just decisively drew 4 cards.
Yeah.
Murloc Paladin.
There's some different sequencing they could have considered as well. Maybe, how does that game play out if they did coin the Firefly on turn 1? Just little things like that. Probably would have been worse, to be fair, because of the 2 mana 3/4. But yeah, anyway, we got Shaman coming in against Paladin. This is a matchup that most people would say Shaman's favored in, and considering this opening hand, I will agree.
Yeah, I love Shaman. I think it's probably my favorite tier, top tier deck in general, just in terms of the best classes, or best decks you bring to tournaments. I'm a sucker for Evolve shenanigans, and also just because I think Shaman is a lot more versatile, and in the hands of a good player, you'll end up seeing them cruise to victories a lot of times. Yeah. In the hands of bad players, they always just run out of cards and run out of board, and just always feel wow, this deck sucks.
Well, yeah. I mean, if the differentiation between good and bad players is how often you draw Jade Claws, I agree. Look, the good players that draw Jade Claws all the time, this deck is insane. Anytime you get that card, personally, I don't want to be a negative Nancy, but man, I really struggle with this deck. And I think, part of it may be maybe the build or lack of experience with it, but it is one of those decks that can so easily run away with the game, but at the same time, it's so easy to get run over. Because, you know, your early game minions that you rely on for snowballing don't really contest the board well. So if you don't have those Jade Claws to combo with your Fireflies, if you don't have the Flame Tongues to go together with your Bloodsail Corsair, a lot of times you can struggle, and you're just playing 0-3s into your opponent's board and getting just bodied the whole time. But, you know, in this case, Planet Odd is a pretty solid draw. They're debating between Fireflies, Jade Claws. They're thinking about, you know, what happens if my opponent is Rockpool Hunter turn 2 and value trades into this Firefly? Should we coin Jade Claw? How does that affect our overload curve? A lot of options here.
Well, they know that there's no Murloc in the hand because nothing got buffed from the Grimskill Chum.
It's true.
So at least if it's Rockpool Hunter, they have to top deck it.
I've made assumptions like that before, Dan, and I will tell you right now what card is on top of that deck. All right, here we go.
It's not going to happen.
It's happening 110% of the time here.
Oh. Well, it looks like Planet Odd's prepared for it in case that does end up happening.
Aw. What's it like, man? Okay, I'm playing Shaman when I get home.
Let's go ahead and tune into Planet Odd's comms here.
Yeah, that's really good. That's really good. Yeah, like, you know that they need that weapon. It's very like their favorite weapon. Yeah. So, good job.
No. Yeah, just weapon the 0-3. Koik is like super good.
Not next turn. We need.
Let's see what we draw first. Oh.
You just tear power here, right?
Yeah,
Could
I guess.
evolve. Like, yeah, but you have Consecrate.
No, but like, if we evolve and still die to Consecrate, then it's like actually bad for us. But now if they Consecrate, it's fine. Like, you know, that's a decent chance. Yeah, this is fine. They Consecrate. We still have initiative. Yeah, don't Consecrate.
Don't cheat.
I mean, don't evolve. Just hero power. I want to make thing from below is cheaper. Like, if we evolve and just the stream 2-drop die, which is like pretty likely, then it's like actually bad for us. Where this way, if they Consecrate, worst case, by double 2-drop and self initiative.
Oh.
Just hero
Really?
power Sinus. Oh, actually, no, Jakeless. Jakeless Sinus.
Yeah.
Yeah, Jakeless
Cool.
Sinus.
Kill power, right?
No,
Oh no,
you don't want to play
Thanos is
Sinus?
1-1. Play
you
Thanos
wanna play
because we can
Thanos.
trade. Like it kills.
Yeah, play Sinus. Jakeless Sinus.
Don't
Like
kill
1-1
power.
is just.
Oh, yeah,
No,
yeah, yeah. Okay.
no, hero
Also,
power.
also
Like
we can like Jade Lightning the 5/5 if you can.
Okay.
Yeah,
Got
yeah,
it.
it's very clear. But mostly just for Guildmaster.
I guess the Thanos gonna confuse them a little.
It's control
Doesn't hit
shot.
anything. We Finja every time. It's not control. They just play Thanos instead of random card.
Kind of like
Thanos is
Golaka.
okay. I guess.
They might not run Mana Tide or something and play like.
No, they don't.
A lot of speculation on G2's end. We know that Doppelgangster Evolve is in Planet Odd's hand right now, and of course it's kind of a, you know, an insane draw to have for turn 6. Do you want to say something?
Yeah, look at the scenario they would be in without that Doppelgangster draw, though. I mean, that Finja alone was going to help bail G2 out of, you know, an otherwise pretty tough game. And, you know, now, you know, even if Consecration happens, Planet Odd has the strongest possible follow-up they could have had. On top of that, you know, their Jade count's going to be reasonable. Still have that Lightning in hand. This is a very key draw. Like, I can't state enough how important that Doppelgangster was to pick up here.
Oh yeah, it was looking pretty bad in terms of just how they're going to able to utilize their resources. And they do have a couple of tech choices in the Shaman. Blood Mage Thanos, you mentioned, was something that already alerted G2 that this is a little bit weird.
Yeah.
And the Cult Master, of course, is not in common decks, but we saw Baiza, who played in the championships last weekend, bring something like this with Masters of Evolution.
Yep. This is an incredibly difficult turn for G2 to navigate. A lot of people would have just played the Consecration immediately. Then you have to consider, like, okay, well, what if I like trade into a 1/1, get my Murlocs, and then I Consecration? I think they're opting for the best play they could make against Doppelgangster Evolve, which is going to pay off here.
They are playing the Baiza list. They're playing Prince Tal'Daram. Prince Tal'Daram, Cult Masters, and Masters of Evolution.
The what would you call it? The buys list?
Yeah, the female player that played in.
Oh
ECT.
yeah.
She played this deck list specifically, and people made such a big deal about Prince Tal'Daram because it replaced Mana Tide totems, and everyone thought like, well, what do you use this Prince for? Prince can be used for some interesting stuff. You know,
that beast synergy with Megasaur. It's a very big blood mage. I like it.
Flame Tongue Totem is like a 3/3 and start doing some pretty nasty stuff.
Yeah, some good copies. Of course, your opponent's stuff. Get a Tyrion.
Did you say 3/3 Megasaur?
You know.
Come on, man. Imagine how good Maelstrom Portal would be, though, right now.
Yeah, no, it would be absurd. Yeah. Bit of a tough turn. I guess they're considering, you know, do we full trade? Do we want to play Doppelgangster this turn? I think they're valuing the card off Blood Mage more than the 2-drop, which makes a lot of sense.
Yep. Here we go. They don't give themselves much time to react off the evolve.
If they get a charge, they're kind of screwed here. All right, well.
They got Hagarino.
I feel like Hager's the most common 6-drop in the game to get off evolve. I feel like I see him every time. So good.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of times I just see just generic stuff like Frost Elemental, like 5/5s or 4/5s or 5/6. You know, nothing really impressive.
I'm just sad we're not going to see Hager copied here.
That's right. You can get 2 Hagers, a 3/3 and a 4/4, which would actually be really sick because you know that G2 already used their consecration.
Yeah.
Well, G2 did something really cool with the stealth on the Murlocs, by the way, and I wonder if they're still feeling like they want to go for the double Megastore play.
Yeah, it definitely.
Because Bone Mare's really good too.
It's true. Yeah, that stealth play was definitely a heads-up play, guaranteed the Megasaur. They are considering, you know, like. Basically, they know they have to kill Hager this turn, and they're saying, okay, well, if we Bone Mare the minion that they trade into is at least going to kill whatever attacks it. This Megasaur is still going to be good later on. Maybe I get a Vile Fin, start getting Paladin hero powers. Let's see how Planet Odd reacts to this Bone Mare.
The Flame Tongue?
We heal for our first, right?
Yeah, to see if we get spell damage. If we get spell damage, we use Jet Lightning, I guess. Yeah, hero power. Do we expect him to play second Consecrate?
Don't think so. So we just value trade here.
Wait. We could use the Jet Lightning.
Oh, yeah. Jet Lightning 5/5 and...
Jet Lightning the 6/2, I think. Trade is a 5/5, 5/7, 5/5. Dagger into 2/1
What if you copy the Flame Tongue?
Here. Oh, actually, that's interesting.
And this kills the 5/5. But it's too late. Just do it.
Just do something. Do something. Yeah. Sorry.
If you play Prince, like we play Prince and Flame Tongue between the 2/3, then that can kill the 5/5, hit the 2/7, and the 5/5 hit the 2/1.
Yeah, okay.
Title Flame Tongue on the 2/3, kill the 5/5, then hit the.
Kodo, we need value, right?
I would say head down. Or redemption.
Yeah, Gedan or redemption actually look better than Kodo.
Then we do. I think we do then noble, cause it's.
Yeah.
They never start. They never start with the 1/2 there. Death Rattle. The other two suck, right?
Yeah, we have to pick this rattle.
Hit the middle one first.
With weapon, right?
So.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, do that. Okay.
We wanna. Like I'm scared of like talent.
But we can just like take some value trades to the 1/1s.
So Prim don't went Lightning, right?
Yeah, and hero power, and then save
Hero power first.
I think we trade.
Oh yeah, sure.
We could also value trade with that in a 1/1.
Yeah, I think we traded the 1/1s just.
So we all value trade 1/1 or
Yeah, and go face with 7/5 and trade the 1/1s, I guess.
The default one to the 1/1.
Yeah. Like if they steed this, we get like the perfect Prince target. Like then you get 1/1 Death Rattle end 2/6. I mean, I do play Spellbreaker, but
You mentioned that if their opponent's Spectre Steed, they can copy it with Taldaram. Now they can copy their opponent's Hydrologist.
Oh, the synergy!
Wow!
Karen Bloodhoof is the future. It's in every deck
What
now.
about Prince Taldaram's future?
I don't see a Prince Taldaram, Dan. I see 2 Karens. Now, that Bone Mare draw was pretty key for G2. It looked like they were in pretty much an unwinnable position, and that is still the case, but at least they have a Bone Mare in play. It did help, you know, set up a decent board. They can still scale Bane after this.
PogChamp.
But yeah, that is so powerful.
The value.
I mean, have we seen a Curator yet out of G2? I don't think we have.
Yes, we have. Oh, you mean like have they drawn it yet?
Yeah, have they drawn it yet? Yeah. So that kind of top deck, you know, could actually outvalue Cairn depending on what Shaman top decks. The cards in Shaman's deck are very swingy, one way or the other. They either win the game on the spot, like, you know, Bloodlust, Thrall, or they do a whole lot of nothing, like the Primal Fin Totems, a lot of the 1-drops. Devolve in this scenario, probably not going to be that strong. So if it does come down to a top deck war, it really could go either way still.
T2 gets the Murloc War Leader, and now the trades are not very good because they keep leaving behind a lot of minions. They could value trade a couple of times with the Blessing of Kings here.
Yeah, they do have the benefit of knowing that Planet Odd's hand is empty. So there are some plays where you leave your larger minions at 1 health. You know, start going through Cairn the hard way. I wouldn't be surprised if that's the route they go. We'll see though.
Yeah, and they're not like they don't actually have a real way to follow up pressure guaranteed if they like go all face here.
At the same time, though, their board wouldn't necessarily get cleared if they went all face. So you know, going all face may have been better, to be honest. You give them 1 draw to deal with it or lose. That Aya wouldn't have saved them. I think they would have won the game, wouldn't they?
So they would have killed Bone Mare.
No. If they went all face.
Oh, yeah. So if they went all face, they would have done 11, right?
Yep.
So they'd be at 9, and then Cobalt would die. Whatever got buffed would die. And that's it. And then they would have had 6 on the board, guaranteed.
Plus Cobalt buff, maybe.
That's true. But yeah, that would have been 9. That would have been lethal. If assuming that worked out that way.
Yeah. I feel like it's such a hard situation to be in. That's such a hard call to make from G2's position. This very possibly was better. We'll see. The value trade's paying off.
Yeah. Now they're able to deal with the Prince Taldaram wombo combo with Cairn Bloodhoof, but Shaman's got some good stuff too now. It's a top deck war.
Yeah, drawing cards in the right order, getting the late game stuff. I mean, if you're going to draw a card in the late game, there's literally nothing better than Aya there. Besides I'm not even sure Bloodlust would have been lethal, but yeah, that Aya pickup is just massive. Oh, Curator though, G2, one of their best draws. This is very, very back and forth now.
If it wasn't Tyrion, then Curator, I think, was the second best option there.
Yeah, unfortunately for G2, they've drawn both their Megasaurs already, so they're not getting a Beast card. But they are setting up a decent board.
Swing and a miss.
Argent Squire out of Planet Odd, probably the worst possible card in their deck. And this is not really a double attack that you want to make, so it's very fortunate for G2 that Argent Squire is picked up here. But if you're Planet Odd, you got to be frustrated in this situation. I think they might have to make the double attack, which is then going to let the Murlocs trade into their minions. Bit of a tough call to make.
Right, and you know the last card is Cobalt Scalebane.
Yep, you know it's off Curator.
The Taunt Totem, though.
Yeah, they know that they need to kill the Taunt because they need to be able to trade into Scalebane the turn after. So.
Right. Taunt Totem coming up pretty big because it doesn't look like G2 can immediately get the ideal value trades that they want.
Yep, it was a big 50-50 on that Totem. I mean, that's gonna mean that Scalebane isn't... Scalebane's basically contested on the board, assuming they don't draw a way to deal with another minion like a Rallying Blade or something.
Oh, man. Sunkeeper Terram is just terrible in this position.
Yep. Sometimes you're happy to see that card, and this is not one of those situations.
Yeah, it's pretty rare to see Terram be so ineffective like this. Because it's not very often you play against a deck that has so many small tokens that naturally work against it.
Yep. So I expect to just see a double trade and a Scalebane here from the G2 side. They're really hoping to get a Tyrion, and they're hoping Planet Odd continues drawing some suboptimal cards. At the same time, though, Planet Odd's in a pretty good position. They're not in imminent danger. They have a lot of time to draw those cards to just win the game for them. There's still Thrall in there. There's still Bloodlust. There's a lot of powerful effects, and their deck is looking pretty small at this point, right? There's not that many cards left. You're going to be...
Yeah, 12.
Yeah. I mean, at least the third of those are just insanely powerful at this point. Second Jade Claw is a 6/6. So definitely a lot of good draws there.
Have a blow play with the Sunkeeper Terram. Second Jade Claws.
They did commit to the Sunkeeper, which is interesting. We're not happy with Scalebane being traded into on board. And, I mean, if you know your opponent has an empty hand, a 3/7 does contest a whole lot of 3/3s, so...
Yeah, the Argent Squire Divine Shield, though, coming in huge this turn.
My initial reaction was they should play Scalebane, but, I actually like this Sunkeeper play. I think this was better. That's, definitely put them in the best position to win that they could be in. But yeah, I mean, despite that, Shaman is just so far ahead at this point. I mean, how do you recover? You make 2 big minions, okay. Then Scalebane gets value traded into, and your other minion gets traded into. At this point, it's just Shaman's game. There's not a lot of bricks left in the Shaman deck.
Yeah.
So after this turn of trading, G2 is going to need something like a Tyrion to come back into it, and that's really what they're looking for.
Yeah, they have Doppelgangs to Revolve. If they're playing Masters of Illusion, they have that as well. As well as like Firefly and Flame Tongue Totem. Oh my goodness! Tyrion Fordering off the top. This game has been non-stop top deck wars back and forth.
Yep, force of nature coming down here.
Love it. Although the bodies themselves are much better than Force Nature, because I believe they're 2/2 tokens that come out.
Well,
So
what if your opponent devolves, Dan? Not always better.
Yeah.
Wait, Force of Nature, there are 2/2s.
Yeah, the tokens. I thought they're 2/2 tokens, aren't they?
The trees?
Yeah.
Yeah, they're 2/2s. So is Doppelgangster.
No, they're 5/5s. Oh, sorry, they're 5 mana minions. So if you have like the value off of the evolution.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We're on the same page. All right. So at this point, Planet Odd is debating, do we double trade into this? Do we just let Tyrion do his thing? I think they're going to be forced to trade, mostly because Tyrion's going to hit that 5/5 anyway. And you might as well ensure that trade happens the way that you want. You still have that Taunt Totem to eat Ashbringer charges.
Right.
There is a possibility G2 wins this game if they play 2 Consecrations in their deck, which almost nobody does, but if they did, it would be filthy right here.
What if they played Baron Geddon?
Baron Geddon, that's right. Told you it's Corn Paladin.
The punish!
It would be so good. Yeah, the Rallying Blade does matter. They're going to lose a minion now because of that. Oh, and you trade the 6-1. Oh, my God.
Yeah, if they
immediately punished. Yeah.
If they traded. Man.
I think that was a massive mistake not to trade into Tyrion.
Ooh, I was waiting for like Evolve or like Thrall Dusty here.
It's like easy to say that that's a mistake after they top deck Rallying Blade, but like they play another Rallying Blade.
Yeah.
You know that's in there. There's just no advantage to waiting really outside of, I don't know, maybe you hit Bloodlust, I guess.
Wow, what a game. G2
Default,
steals one yet again, and 2 counters to the Paladin have fallen. G2 is now 2 games away from winning the series.
That was pretty unlucky from Planet Odds end, though. I think the reason they didn't trade in is because they knew they had possibly 2 Devolves left in their deck. Yep. They saw none of those, and that's one of the best cards in the Paladin matchups. One of the reasons that we say Shaman's favored against that deck. So pretty unfortunate for them to not see that card. And yeah, I mean, G2 just takes it off the back of some absurd top decks.
Yeah.
They're empty hand, they draw Curator. Empty hand, they draw Tyrion. If it wasn't exactly those 2 cards back to back, they definitely would have lost that game. So a little bit of
fortune.
A little bit of justice after that Mage Warlock game, I'd say. Both teams have had an insane comeback in a game that otherwise looked unwinnable. So even the playing field here.
That's why we play best of 11, because you expect swings on both sides eventually. It's very rare that one team just gets all the draws and all the fortunate rolls and the other team doesn't. It usually swings one way and swings back the other way. And then also lineup influence too. We'll see if those interesting choices like Quest Warrior or the Control Warlocks or Zoo Warlocks end up paying off a little bit more than the other team. And we still have yet to see, what comes out of the Mage from Planet Odd, for example.
Right.
Because that is something that is curious. Mage is one of the more flexible spots in this last hero standing, as well as Warrior. Those tend to be the 2 classes that people use the most for a lot of flexibility.
Right, yeah. It's really hard to predict what exactly those classes are going to bring. So whatever it is, Planet Odd felt like Shaman is a better counter for Murloc than those classes, but I feel like almost any version of Mage has a reasonable chance against Murlocs, with the exception of maybe Quest. I know we've seen a decent amount of that. But at the end of the day, we'll see what kind of lineup they decided to go with. We have seen some interesting choices. They brought the Zoo this time around. They were playing Quest Warrior, so it's possible they have Quest Mage as well, and they're going for those very swingy counter matchups.
I do want to say that I like that G2 is not only winning with Paladin, but also acknowledging the strength of Paladin, because they brought Hungry Crabs in their Control Warlock, so you can see why some teams are fearing it. Hoi is the last remaining player from Planet Odd, and after he plays either Paladin Mirror, perhaps, or we've seen also Control Paladin take a lot of wins for last week, or last time around, because it wasn't actually the last week. With Virtus Pro, Control Paladin took so many games for that team and won the series.
It's a great deck, yeah. I'm telling you, man, the first team that brings Quest Rogue with double Hungry Crab, just the same list I always play in tournaments, they just bring that kind of deck, even after the nerf, it would be so well positioned here. You got to beat the mid-range decks with something else, but...
There's Petey.
Oh, look at that.
His pet bird.
I will command the
and he just chills on the Yeti, man. It's 4v3 as far as I'm concerned.
Birds are awesome. He's
who bird this is. We're gonna go to what looks like to be the mirror. I mean, there could be this small differences in tech choices, but for the most part, it feels like Murloc Paladins have largely gravitated towards the same type of mid-range package. Doesn't seem like there's too much variation.
Yeah, once in a while you'll see a Paladin deck that tries to go under the other Paladin decks, which is better in the mirror, when you have...
Super fast.
Yeah, just more one-drops. You're playing the Argent Protector, you're playing the Cold Light Seer, you're playing a curve that stops at 6. But for the most part, yeah, I agree. This mid-range type of list with the Curators, the Mope, the Bone Mares, the Tyrion, the power level per card is just so much higher in a list like this.
Wow, that opening hand from G2 is much better than Planet Odds.
Yep.
And with matchups that are so board dependent this early game, that can determine the game already.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, that War Leader draw from G2 lets them contest this 1-3 just with a Vile Fin, so they're not forced to coin Hydrologist or anything like that, which they might not have wanted to do anyway against Rockpool Hunter. But yeah, Planet Odd can't just decide to Hero Power Pass immediately. That they do have a bit of time to talk through their plays, not give away they don't have a 2-drop. Let's listen to G2 and see how they're going to play this hand out.
But it's bad versus
Yeah, but it played into Rockpool, right? I mean,
No,
Yeah.
it's not bad against Rockpool. Because they go for weapon now, maybe?
yeah, but then still, like
Yeah.
you are really bad then. I don't like that attack, man.
Then we just go Hydrology Secret.
Try to get redemptions.
Okay.
If it's get down and they trade into 2-3, we kind of have to give up the board and play on stuff. I guess it's fine.
We could always ignore it, but that's not really a good idea, right?
Of course not.
If they go face, does that say anything?
Oh, okay. Well, let's think of the secret. What it is.
If it's get down, it's actually better to go face, probably. No, it's the same. No, it's better because they can buff.
No, you should always trade into the
Then you
1-1.
always trade the 1/1 if
Oh yeah,
it's get down.
we trade with 2-3 into 1-1. If it's get down, we double trade. If it's redemption, we also double trade. We just go wide.
Wait, are you sure with the 2-3?
Don't we trade the 2/3 and the 2/2?
No.
No, because it can be like redemption or...
Yes, redemption,
Shall we do that part first to see what find out what it is?
of course. And now we trade into 1-1 again and play hydrology.
Our own Hydrologist, yeah. Let's see what we get first.
Redemption, so we don't get. A noble is also really good actually. Or depends if they have a mega sword maybe.
I would say redemption is better.
I also think redemption is slightly better. The question is, do we play redemption or do we
Yeah,
the
we play-
Hydrologist?
We play redemption, right? I like redemption more.
Yeah, you don't have time anyways to think of the secret.
Consecration only. Against consecration, get down was better.
Yeah, but they don't run it. They run their surrender version.
Yeah. And what do you trade? Either one, right?
I think it's true, like left to the hydrologist. I don't think we care that much about secret.
Maybe 2-1 is better.
I think 2-1's too. If it's redemption
Yeah.
and if it's Kodo, it's
Oh, sure.
Yeah.
Sure.
Trade 2-1.
Maybe it's have Mega Sword if they pick redemption there. But I mean, if they Mega Sword, at least that means they don't play Finja.
Yeah, so G2 has definitely had the better early game curve, but Planet Odd has managed, despite all odds, to get a Megasaur off on 4, and they just drew that Finja, which, with that Spike Ridge Steed Bone Mare curve, could single-handedly win them the game.
So, against all Planet Odds,
Oh.
one may say.
Oh,
Oof.
that hurt.
So that's why they pay me more than you. Yeah, I completely agree. I think the Finja Spike Ridge Steed is something that is going to be extremely powerful, assuming that G2 doesn't have a way to immediately ensure that doesn't get any draws.
Yeah, this is, I mean, at the end of the day, one of the strongest cards in the mirror, once you do get to these mid stages, is Spellbreaker. And Planet Odd has it, although it's not going to necessarily apply with the hand G2 has.
Yeah, it doesn't translate to.
But if G2 doesn't have Spellbreaker, I mean, Finja, Spike Ridge, Bone Mare is just such a powerful curve. It's going to be very tough for them to deal with this. At the same time, though, I mean,
a lot of damage.
Yeah, G2's going wide. They're hitting for a lot. They're probably playing like Scalebane here. This is not a small amount of damage at all. You can even go Blessing Redemption. There's a lot of merit to that.
Yeah, the Blessing Redemption ensures that, I guess, at least on board, anything that Finja trades into will kill Finja, but we also know the threat of Spiker Steed being very high right now.
Right.
And because Planet Odd's been playing all the cards from the right side of their hand, it's like they've been holding these cards and they've been skipping early turns. So it makes me lean, if I'm G2, towards Planet Odd having heavier hit cards like Spiker Steed and Bone Mare.
Right. Yeah. The nice thing about playing Blessing is you do protect this War Leader. So this is, I wouldn't be surprised to see them go for that line of play. It's not an easy turn to play out. There's a lot of options, but after thinking about it, I do think the Blessing is better. You kind of need this War Leader to live for a couple turns.
Yeah. Spiker Steed means that it also can't trade into the War Leader, but then he trades into a 4-2, so then you have 6 health remaining, and if you have Redemption, then both those Hydrologists, or I guess in this case the Murloc Tidecaller, you pretty much get a trade into a full board clear off the Spiker Steed.
Right. I mean, the thing about playing Tidecaller here is you just gave Finja a clean trade as opposed to the Redemption. So he will stick around. I mean, we have the Spellbreaker here anyway, so it wouldn't have mattered, but...
Yeah, I think if they trade into the Tidecaller, with it would have been a clean trade both ways for Spiker Steed. And now this way, they can have Finja with a little bit more health, more boards on the target for Bone Mare. I'm liking it.
Yeah, it's a strong board.
3, 5, 7 damage on board, though. If G2 can find a way to end the game, though, they will do it. Let's go ahead and tune in and see if this is the final turns of the game here.
In here.
Oh, we can go for lethal. We can go for lethal.
We hero power first.
Hero power or redemption, which one is better?
I think hero power, because if we don't hit the attack, then we want to trade, and then we want Death Rattle maybe. I think you always hero power now.
I think it's whatever, just go for it. We probably win most of the time.
I think it's definitely... If you miss, then the miss is not too big. Oh, this miss is really big. Oh, man.
Poisonous.
Yeah, it's poisonous. So how do we want to do it?
Trade 2-2...
2-2 into 1-3 and into 4-3. And then 3-3 into Finja. I think that's the way you do it.
Yeah. Maximum value trade.
Yeah.
3-3.
Yeah, this happens here. And this happens there.
And Finja dies. Wow.
Wow,
So
we
like,
didn't get any. Oh, man.
Wind Fury attack.
Yeah, Wind Fury and attack were lethal there.
50-50.
Alright, trade.
Yeah, Bone Man, the 2-3 trade into 5-4, and then 2-2 into War Leader.
Sucks. Is that better than Steed?
Yeah, I think so.
It is better because like he trades most minutes in any way in our board, so like for us it's the same, and this way we can hero power Steed next turn.
Otherwise we can just Blessing of Kings and hero power.
But then he might keep a poisonous minion. I'd rather use a Bone Mare than Blessing, since...
I just Bone Mare and trade.
Yeah, Bone Mare the 2-3. And trade the 3-1 obviously.
Scalebane is better.
Scalebane hero power. Sets up lethal, right? Yeah, it sets up lethal. Yeah, double trade Scalebane hero power is lethal.
Also plays around Tyrion a bit.
Does it?
I mean, we could technically... No, it's not. We don't play around Tyrion, right? We could
No.
like, rally in Blade and save Poisonous Guy, hero power, redemption or something. But
We have time. If they Tyrion, we just go Curator and then redemption and proc the Tyrion. We have time, it's fine.
Yeah, I like it too.
So no Tyrion, no Steed, and we have lethal.
It's alright. Have to play hero power Steed.
just Curator.
Yeah, we Curator, because the Rallying Blade doesn't give us better traits. We always Curator, yeah.
The menagerie is for guests only.
Do you Chum?
Maybe so we double trade this, right? Every time.
Yeah.
Redemption.
And then you have a 7/6 Curator, or the problem is it might become a 5/1. It might take the buff. Or is that good?
No, it's better if...
I think Redemption is better.
Yeah, Redemption has to be better, because you guarantee the Curator buff.
Yeah, and you also gain better plays afterwards with Murlocs, Megasaurs, everything.
Yeah, it's good, it's good.
How do we win?
I think we're blessing at attack.
And hope it's nothing.
I mean, if it's Redemption, we just weapon it afterwards.
Getaway Coda, we have a chance, right?
Yeah, if it's Coda, we just volley the Rallying Blade Hero Power afterwards.
Let me think.
Have to weapon that.
The menagerie is for guests only. I must move quickly.
We can
Stop the clock.
we can weapon Chum Finisher.
Yeah, that's probably better. And probably value trade. Not give him a chance.
Yeah, I like also the value trade. Yeah, no Tarim or whatever, man.
Yeah, don't risk it.
Okay, time for Mage.
The victory is yours.
That is 4 in a row for G2, who are all too familiar with what it's like to be crushing with Paladin. And Tice able to really not only equalize it, but put a lot of momentum. But, I mean, I think a lot of the product was the early game there. The Murloc Paladin just... If that's your best shot is to win the mirror and you're just kind of leaving it up to luck of the early game draw, it feels like you're in a disastrous spot to begin with if you're playing it odd.
Yeah, it definitely makes me think they're playing, Quest Mage. Because most other Mage lists, I feel like you would be fine queuing into Murlocs.
I think the Tempo Mage can be problematic, though.
Yeah.
So many one-drops.
That's true. It depends on how good you are at drawing Medusa Valet and, Mana Worm. But, yeah, it's... Definitely hurts to lose that mirror. That was an important one for them to get. But at the end of the day, G2 just had the better opening hand. Finja wasn't quite enough to swing it back. Credit to G2 for playing around. A lot of the potential Finja swings from Planet Odd. So, man, Paladin is just so consistent. It's crazy what that deck can do.
Yeah, it's got such a good explosion. It's always got so much. Late game too, just when you think you can pull them out, it's like Curator gets more stuff, and then Cobalt Scalebane's super snowbally, so you're just able to win the board for a couple turns, and it's game over.
Yeah. Well, looks like it is Tempo Mage. Don't expect this kind of list to have any volcanic potions or anything like that, so definitely easy for Paladin to run away with the game sometimes. But on that note, you can also get some Mana Worms with the coin. You can draw Medusa Valet and really swing the board. I like the Frostbolt keep here. I think it's important. Yeah, this is the kind of hand that could definitely keep up with a Paladin. It's really missing a Mana Worm, but not impossible to win from here.
Well, G2's got their turns 1 and 2 all mapped out here. Interesting.
I mean, if I'm Planet Odd here, I think I coin Hero Power.
Yeah. What's the logic here from G2 to play the Grimms to go Chum this early? They wanted them to get the use to coin, because then if they play Chum on 2 with it, then it just plays it to their curve.
Yeah, I mean, they figured they were playing Chum either turn 1 or turn 2 by playing it turn 2, or by playing it turn 1, they at least force the coin out with the hero power. If they wait till turn 2, they're not really forcing a coin. They'd also get an attack off before Mana Worm kills it as well. And threaten Rockpool Hunter. Glyph is going to be the play here for Planet Odd. We're looking for a secret. This kind of hurts to see. This is not what you want. Simulacrum is probably going to be the pick here. They could take Forbidden Flame, but you don't really get the cost reduction value when you pick a Forbidden card, which is kind of the drawback there. Yeah, this is definitely tough. What they were looking for is that 1 mana secret, or maybe just like good AoE spell, right? Like Flame Strike, Blizzard would have been fine. Let's listen to Planet Odd and see why they're picking Simulacrum.
We'll find out. It's probably something that is not good versus Paladin, because I think they would have queued it first if it was over Mirror.
Yeah, but yeah. I mean, they queued kind of all small favors against Paladin.
But it's like other AI or Simulacrum hero power. But
I don't think we can play AI. I think we need a hero power.
play Simulacrum.
I think so, yeah.
Yes.
Oh man, that is super bad.
What is that?
So he plays it here.
It's probably Doomsday or something, right?
But they would have played it.
Nah, it's probably Valet. Attack?
Ooh.
Attack. Attack's better than win for a year.
No,
What about plans?
It's attack or plans, yeah.
Yeah, it's attack or plans. I don't know,
I think attack. What do they do, man?
I think attack too.
I mean,
yeah, they use the coin. They use the coin, so go for attack. I was just thinking.
Around double Doomsday.
I mean, we do so much pressure now.
Yeah.
Like
We win with
it's possible that
kings.
They top deck Doomsayer this turn, and then you just copied it, so they can play like double Doomsayer, you know.
But then they die. They die to kings.
They've all played Doomsayer at 2, man. There's no way that
Yeah, that's why it's better to go for buff.
the positioning, guys. Awesome.
That's fine.
Spellbreaker.
I think we keep that. Yeah, we don't play. It's just hero power pass. Now we have an answer. It's quite good for Doomsayer. But yeah, our hand is quite dead.
Can we not play it? I'm thinking.
No.
I'm thinking they might go Secret Valet. I think. Then
If you play it, it has 1 attack.
No, I played on.
No, you can silence the 5/4.
Oh, so only for tempo? No. I think you keep it.
Wait.
They will freeze us later in the game for sure.
Okay. Like considering this hand, we can go a bit longer.
Yeah, we definitely can. Like, we'll always get better value than this. We never play Spellbreaker here. Come on, guys.
I mean, you have to play Mana Bind, right? Mana Bind,
Yeah,
ping the 5/1.
Mana Bind.
We play Metish Valley. To soak up some damage.
Okay, but then play the left one, obviously.
I wonder.
And a bind, kill the 5/1.
Yeah, but play the left valid.
Excuse me, you are on fire.
Maybe.
Yeah, we play that on the
5
one.
Base. Test for barrier. It's never vaporize.
I mean, they never plays Counterspell, right?
It might be secret mage, you know. We didn't test it.
We play it. We have no option.
Are you sure?
Yes. When do you not? What do you want to do? You want a Spellbreaker pass? Like even Counterspell, it's. I still will want to do it.
Yeah, I think we play it.
Every time, man. Mana Bind, what?
So it's aggro mage, yeah. Trade it, you have to trade it. You have to trade it, right? Or not? Wait. Yeah, we have Spellbreaker. So they have it for free. And they have another Metis Valet, but no secret.
We might go face here.
But even if you trade, we still have lethal with Spellbreaker.
Okay.
I think you trade, yeah. Trade it.
Trade?
If they
I think it's better.
mana, it was better to not trade.
Yeah.
Mana bind.
No, because even if they have Firelands, we have Bone Mare. Yeah, they play Tempo Mage.
No, I mean not. If they like.
Oh, you mean like Firelands and then also Spiker Steed?
Yeah.
Good that it wasn't Spellbender.
Mana Bind, definitely one of the more interesting secrets that you could put in your Tempo Mage list that is oftentimes combined with things like an Archmage Antonitis for a free spell later on and activate your valets, because it does tend to be a little bit awkward. Even a 0-mana Spiker Steed, though, is it enough to stop G2's onslaught with Murloc Paladin? I don't think it is.
I'm late.
Yeah, I mean, that Spellbreaker in hand really is just going to seal the deal. But you can't fault Planet Odd for making this play, trying to swing the board.
Looks good on paper.
Yeah.
Your magic shall not save.
Sometimes they just have it. In case of G2 with Murloc Paladin. Today, every time they have it.
There you go. Planet Odd is going to drop here. G2 with 5 games in a row. Just like in Season 1, using Paladin to dominate their opponents.
Yeah, that is quite the deck. Yeah, Murloc Paladin is just so incredibly powerful and just definitely one of those lists capable of sweeping series.
Imagine if they put Uther, too, in it. They might have even gotten 6 wins with it.
That's right. That's
Some may say they even might hit Legend.
That's true. I wouldn't know anything about that, Dan. Yeah. One day, man.
Rank 9 is pretty feisty, to be fair.
But, okay, I got up to 6. All right, don't be a hater.
Well, G2 definitely starting off really strong with Neria, and I think he showed his value this series specifically. He really showed some really good, important lines and situational adaptations to some crazy variance that ends up happening. And I think that's where Neria shines his best. He's really putting a lot of repetitions, and he's really able to see the game through a big macro level, and especially in the controlled decks. I really enjoy watching Neria play all the time.
Yeah, he's an excellent player. It's I always loved watching him play Combo Warrior back in the day.
Yeah.
Hey,
I mean, I actually kind of hope that we see Combo Warrior in the future weeks, because a list came out not too long ago, I think maybe a day or two ago, from, I think, Monsanto. And he was playing Don Honcho, Leroy Jenkins, Sudden Genesis. And I love seeing that kind of stuff. It looks really fun to play.
Yeah, I was wondering if people were going to make that work after the charge nerf happened, because it was like one of the last true ways to OTK people. It'd be cool if we see that, man, one day.
Yeah, I mean, in a format like this, you might be able to see it. Hopefully in the future we can. For now, we're going to be joined by Tice from G2, who's able to win 5 games in a row with Paladin. So Tice, talk to me about how that series went for you guys from the very beginning until dominating with Murloc Paladin.
Yeah, the start of the series was, of course, not how we had exactly hoping for. When you get 2-0 by Zoo, not a deck you really expect to do that well. But we always knew that we had the potential with some of our decks to also like get back or get 2 series going. That we got 5 series with the Paladin was maybe a little unexpected, but we take it.
Yeah, did the Mana Bind throw you off that much at the very end? Because you kept saying like Mana Bind, but you guys were still kind of on the fence on what kind of mage it was.
Yeah, I mean, their hand was so slow, and Mana Bind, it's not a card that I thought that will be that popular, and even in Tempo Mage, I will still expect Spellbender even more. So it was even there, the Mana Bind, we had the Spellbreaker in hand. It got me a little off guard, but we completely didn't saw the Tempo Mage. We saw Valet, we saw Frostbolt, we saw Glyph. Yeah, it can be so much. So we didn't even figure out it was Tempo Mage yet. We thought it was a little bit slower Mage.
True that. Talk to me about adding Neria to your team. What has he been doing? I mean, we clearly saw it during the series what he was able to do, but even leading up to that match.
Yeah, like Nerea is just in general, one of the best players here in Europe. It was we were really hoping that we could find another great player. After Life Coach left, of course, we were already looking a little bit around, and I think Nerea, I already, and also Radu, we already practiced a lot with him during the HCT tour, and he has a really similar play style as me too. We know each other already 2-3 years. We have been at BlizzCon together, so it was it was just a great addition, and he's just doing a lot of research also for the team already. With he knows the game really well, so I'm really happy to have him on the team.
That's
Sad that we had to get Lothar to go to, because it was also good, awesome to play with him in the first 2 weeks, and he did also a great job. So that was also super awesome.
Why are you laughing right now when you said he's sad to lose Lothar?
Yeah, I'm sad to lose Lothar too, man. I love seeing Lothar play, you know?
That's true. That's right. Fun fact, Tice beat Nerea in the 2015 Europe Championships in the grand finals. It was Tice versus Nerea.
That was a good game, right? That was like last game.
Yeah, that was also the tournament where Pavel did that crazy thing against Life Coach, that big Sylvanas Molten Giant misplay. One of my favorite tournaments in Hearthstone history in Prague. Is definitely really fun. Thanks for joining us, Tice, and good luck in your future matches, and I'll see you at TwitchCon.
Yeah, see you tomorrow probably, or the day after.
Yeah. Safe travels.
Yeah, same for you.
Cool.
That's right. Tice will be coming to TwitchCon to play you guys actually in October Brawl this weekend, so it'll be fun.
That's unlucky for him.
That's right. Take a look at the standings of how G2 is looking right after that series. They've moved up to the top 3 with a pretty even match score here. 16-12 is nothing to be too impressed by, but the most important thing is their match wins and match loss. Game wins-loss only comes into factor if teams are tied for the finals qualification.
Yeah, I mean, that's a massive deal that they were able to not just win, but win by such a large margin right there. That's really what's going to separate teams moving forward, because right now, as we can kind of see, I mean, the win-losses, G2 Esports having played one more series, of course, the distribution's pretty close across all the teams. It's really just a few games separating every single team. So, yeah, getting these wins by big margins, that's really going to be the deciding factor long term on who advances, who doesn't.
Yeah, and those game differentials do end up mattering for the lineup differences. If you're able to eke out a couple of wins, because you're playing, anywhere between 50 to 80 games in the season, and surely you can find an edge there. But with that, we're going to go straight into the second match, which is a team of friends.